Let's get started.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
Do not attempt to adjust your dial. I'm transmitting live. Yo,
Let's get down to business.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
All right.
for the underground world, every street and borough.
You may learn something.
You are now listening to the Joe Rogan Experience with Chico, Simon, Kamar, and your host, Matt Floyd.
Welcome to the Joe Rogan Experience. My name is Matt Floyd, joined as always by Kamar
Welcome to the party.
and Simon.
Greetings, Earthlings.
What we do here is very simple. The three of us have listened to every episode of the Joe Rogan Experience this week. We're going to rate each episode as well as the week on a scale of 1 to 5 Jamie Vernons. We're then going to talk about each guest, the talking points, give our opinions, this, that, and the next. Kamar, any new patrons?
Glad you asked, Matt. You spoke last week, and the words you said were heard. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Patreon, the most important aspect of the podcast to us. This week, we got a big shout out to Tattooed Heathen.
My man, Tattooed Heathen.
Sounds like a real badass, eh, Simon? Would you say?
Tattooed Heathen. Yes, yeah. Do you know him or something?
Well, no, but I think we all know this person. It's a big shout out to Terrence Howard.
Shout out to Terrence Howard.
Dude, send us some of those three-dimensional art pieces.
We would do him a disservice since we do not know what it's called, but yes. Then we have Amanda McDonald.
Amanda!
Whoa, sweeps week
Yeah,
is
sweeps
working.
month. Yeah, February,
Jesus.
sweeps month. I told you.
And then we got
Do people-
Kevin Price.
Shut up. 4?
Yeah, let's
Oh.
go. Let's go.
Whoa.
The people
Whoa.
listen.
I am flabbergasted.
No, I think it's ever since Simon took over the post show.
I am
Shit just
flabbergasted.
changed
Well,
fast.
the Toast Show.
So join the Patreon, leave a comment, unsubscribe to the YouTube, do all that fun stuff, and keep making those clips.
Come on, you want to go over the guests? We can do what we do here.
Oh, I'd love to, Matt. Thank you.
Oh, get those fucking wine gums away from me.
You guys are eating the worst possible podcast fare.
2263, The Sad Father. Gad Sad is back in the house. Followed by 2264, Lenville Logan and Jason Sands. Then we had 2265, Kurt Metzger. And end off the week with 2266, Brian Simpson.
Brian Simpson.
Thanks
What
for
a
the
fu- yeah.
translation.
What a weirdo.
It was nothing.
Simon, you want to rate the week? I feel like you're going to give it the highest.
Am I?
I don't know. I mean, it felt.
I think who was the first? Oh, God, sad. He just pulls it way down. I'm gonna go with a 3.25.
Kamar.
Yeah, I guess I can find myself in the 3.3 area.
And I guess I'll give it a. Yeah, I'll give it a 3. Sure. Fuck it. Come on, let's fire it up. Start her off.
Okay, this week we're going to start off with 2264, Lenville Logan and Jason Sands.
So I broke this news to you guys last week that there was a new whistleblower out there.
Is it the new whistleblower, or is this
Jason
just the
Sands.
whistleblower and now he's come to Joe Rogan's? He had blown the whistle.
Yeah, he's already come out.
Yeah.
He's not blowing it on Joe Rogan.
No.
Blew his whistle somewhere.
In a skiff.
No,
He
at
blew
a-
his whistle in a skiff with 4 guys.
at a press conference or a hearing or whatever.
I just for note.
Don't think that's the thing.
I don't think it is either. I listened to the whole podcast, Raw Dog, no visual.
I thought you meant like naked.
Yeah, that's what I thought he meant too.
And then at the very end, I got to see what this guy looks like, and it ruins everything, doesn't it?
Oh, I watched a little bit of it. Yeah, they're.
So there's that.
What did you not like about him?
He looked unkept.
Okay. I mean,
That's not enough for someone who has the one of the
he's an army
most
guy,
amazing
right?
stories.
He's an army guy.
Well, he didn't have his hair cut properly.
Okay, well, I guess that
He looked
just-
he looked more like a basement dwelling Cheeto eater.
I mean,
a Cheeto eater.
He sounded so credible. He had his T's cross and his I's dotted. But yeah, the crux of this podcast, I thought, aside from his amazing stories, which we'll get into, is you really can't tell someone if you saw something or if you got abducted. If you met an alien, had a 10-minute conversation, and they took off, and you are in this position where like, I want to tell someone, but I have no proof whatsoever, and I cannot have them challenge my truth because I know what I saw. And so a lot of people would not tell people, right?
Well, and for their job's sake, like people are going to think you're crazy. I would tell you guys right away.
But would we believe you?
No, you wouldn't, because wouldn't that be like the perfect, the aliens would never take me because they know I want to be taken.
Well, that's the interesting
Can't
thing.
want it too much.
Listening to this one, I was like, that's funny because if I saw an alien and I was certain I saw like a UAP, I would have someone I could go tell that would believe me unequivocally right away. And that's you.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, you'd be
But
rife
you'd
with
still
jealousy,
say, but
so it'd
you'd
be
still
tough.
be like, did you video
I would have to, yeah, I'd have to
Why
run you
didn't
through your
you?
paces. Like one time, Jarrah told me he saw a wolf,
Yeah.
and that's cool, but I don't believe it. You know what I mean? I think he saw like a
Big fox?
It's like when I sent
a
you
big coyote or something. Not a big fox. You're not going to mistake a big fox.
like when I sent you the bear paw from the backyard.
Yeah. Well, listen, I was with you there for a second, but then I came to a more logical.
Well, I didn't really think it was a bear in my backyard. You know what I mean? I was like, but I just was like, I need some.
It looked like a big cat, which was the scary part.
Either way, you want someone else to be like, I see what you're seeing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's of course, the more people, the better.
So that just pull your shirt back a little bit. Yeah. So that just goes towards Bigfoot. Like there must be so many people who see him or her and will never tell because imagine the ridicule.
Yeah, I mean, it is the exact same thing.
It is the exact same thing.
And
Is
if you're
it the
by
exact
yourself-
same thing?
It is the exact same thing. Fool
That's
me
it.
once,
You're
shame
done.
on
You're
me.
done. That's it. We're just done with. Till
Well-
Simon's like, that's all the alien talk I've got.
So the government is communicating with aliens. There are multiple sects of aliens, maybe more than we can count.
To me, the whole thing kind of fell apart when Joe was like, I can't remember what question he asked, but the guy was like, he sat there and pondered forever. He was like, oh, I can't remember the name, Alpha Centurion or some sort of, he's like, there's different designations we use, a lot of numbers in there. It just, I don't know. It felt like this guy was talking on some Men in Black shit. Like some true Men in Black shit.
Well, he was. I mean,
I'm pretty sure that where is it? It's there's two planets that they think may be livable somewhere way out there. And that is the same map that Betty Hill drew when she was going through her hypnosis.
well, may I?
For I got to find out where.
If the government, and I don't know when they say government, who that is in the government, are communicating with these alien forces, then they would know. I mean, things like maybe these two planets, of course they know the planet, if space exists, whatever.
Zeta Reticuli. That's the-
Saying that the government or whoever is talking to them is keeping stuff from the scientific community, so we live in our bubble of what we think reality is.
Well, I mean, that's probably true.
Well, that's really off-putting, right?
Well, but they do that with everything. Like, you
Is-
really
is-
think you know the real deals of what's going on in the world?
Isn't this slightly different than any other thing in the world?
Because it proves that, but
Yeah, but Kamar, the problem is that
The truth exposes the lies. Is that what we're saying?
well, but it would be the same with JFK. If they came out and told us, no, we're really sorry, but we killed the president. This is the CIA I'm talking
That
about.
have the same effect if it said, we have aliens, we talk to them all the time, this is what we actually know.
No, I'm just saying, if you're talking about credibility of the government, like that seems even worse to me than finding out that there were aliens and they weren't telling us.
but we know the government is incredible.
And I would throw the space program.
Isn't credible.
Is not credible.
not
yes.
credible.
Like, will not tell us the truth.
It sounded like you said is incredible.
No, I want.
if you can,
Yes.
if you can fool a bunch of people that we got on the moon, anything is possible.
Dude, so I'm speaking of the moon. I'm watching a show on Apple right now called For All Mankind. It was suggested to me by the checkout man at Loblaws. Shout out to
Okay.
you, buddy.
Wait a second. How did it come up that he would think you'd be interested?
This is hilarious. So he's bagging my groceries.
Great question.
And right away he says, "So, you watch any good TV lately?"
You got hit on.
No, I think it was his shtick with everybody. You know what I mean? It seemed to me like this was like his thing.
It's how he decides who he's murdering that week.
Yeah, if you don't talk to him, you go on the list.
You don't watch TV.
Listen, don't
Seen
fucking
any good TV lately
don't-
this week?
don't-
Listen, man, just bag the groceries.
I'm not going to say anything bad about Benny. You may want to say bad things about
I don't
Benny.
think you have to say anything else.
Anyways, so he suggested that I watch this show.
Yeah.
I did because I didn't want to end up on his list.
And you've been enjoying it.
It's interesting. I'll tell you what the premise is.
I know what the premise is.
I'm going to tell Kamara and the audience what the premise is.
Please do.
Is that
It's like an
the
alternate reality.
USSR lands on the moon first, Kamar. Okay. So the space race never ends because America now has to get to the moon and like be better. And then they have to get, and then they're building a base and they have to do this and that. So the space race is still going. It's like Mad Men with the space race because it actually starts the year they go to the moon, which is what?
669
No, 62 or something.
It's not that big a deal.
when they landed on the moon.
64, I don't know, whatever it is. And then it progresses in time. Like right now I'm on the end of season 2 and it's the 80s. Ronald Reagan is president. And JFK never died, never got assassinated. Like there's all this shit that
that's
happens.
interesting.
And women end up becoming astronauts because Russia puts a woman on the moon first.
You lost me.
Kamara, I'm out.
Russia puts a woman on the moon first, so America has to then have women astronauts. You're watching it and you're like, well, this is the way it was supposed to be. They went to the moon and they never stopped. It just would get better and better. This idea that there was no more appetite by the public to have a base on the moon, you like go fuck yourself. Take your fucking dick with both of your hands and jerk it until you're blue in the face,
Building off of that, isn't it feel like
Clip that,
Elon's,
farm boys.
skipping a step, wanting to get onto Mars?
Yeah, because he doesn't want to be able to be successful. He wants to keep trying something to milk as much money out of the government and the public as he can.
And the moon base doesn't do that.
The amuse-bouche does not do that.
You know what's really interesting about NASA, and I wasn't alive back then, so maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like Elon Musk has now caught a bunch of rockets, right?
Yes.
Am I wrong? Like
Many rockets.
Yeah. So it seems like that's
Allegedly.
tested. It seemed like NASA didn't do that. They were just like, fly one rocket up. It worked. And then they were like, put some men on that.
But Matt, they flew the same rocket up for the alleged 8 or 12 or whatever missions it was. But it's funny, in this show, shit's getting better and better. Oh, and I forgot to tell you. So in the first season, Werner von Braun
Yeah, I
is
know. He's
in
a big,
it.
it's the Colm Fior or whatever, the actor.
Okay, yes, yeah. And he is, they make him seem very sympathetic. I didn't like it at all.
I told you about this show like 5 years ago on this show.
Yeah, but you're not Benny.
No, you have that mournful look in your eye. You're like, yes, you did. I dismissed you.
Yeah.
No,
I
you
will
know
not
why
admit it.
I didn't watch it? For the same reason Kamar got very turned off, was the whole, I thought it was all about just women going to space.
Interesting.
But it's so much more than that.
So apparently aliens don't know anything about electricity or it affects the metal differently. Really put Joe off.
No, it was not electricity. It was the radar.
The radar that
the
was
tracking
getting him,
equipment. But listen, it might just be one of those things that, like, if you've never seen that signal, how would you know that it was going to affect your, like, just because they're traveling from vast distances doesn't necessarily mean that they are like omnipotent.
No, they could
Like
be
they
so
don't make mistakes.
First off,
you
they
know?
could be so far past our technology that, you know what I mean? They had the technology we have 10,000 years ago, and they're so far beyond it that,
Or it could be a thing like, did you ever see the movie Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
of course.
You know, the big green guys that are, they're on Earth, the Vol, I forget, something with a V. And
Okay.
they're the ones who are going to kill Earth. But they fly around in this giant, like, it looks like a fucking dumpster. You know what I mean? Like everything just seems very primitive, even though it's kind of like Alien. You know,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you're the ship on Alien, it looks like a shitty fucking a Greyhound bus from the 70s.
Not even. There's like not even a chair.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Like
it's
it's
garbage.
It's just like great walkways.
Well,
you know what I mean?
it's
Like
because it
graded
was
walkways.
a mining ship
Yeah,
or
I get
whatever,
it, yeah.
right? Or I don't remember what the ship was, but
No, that was it. It was the company. I'm pretty sure that was
or
it.
oil, space oil or something. I don't know. Anyways,
Could it be that the aliens would be too much of a distraction? Like if you found out their sex and these ones are like this and they do this and every quarter month they do this and it'd just be people would get obsessed with learning about the aliens.
Who cares? People are obsessed with My Little Pony. What
Yeah,
the fuck is
there
the
you go.
difference?
I forgot to mention
Can't buy
too,
anything.
you were talking about the different, you keep saying sex, but species of aliens.
Mhm.
Multiple, like, let's call them government whistleblowers or military whistleblowers. Like there was the Canadian Minister
remember,
of
yeah,
Defense or whatever. I forget his name, but he came forward and he said there was whatever.
The Men in Black.
27
basically. Yeah.
different species of aliens. There's good ones. And then the Israeli guy from the military came forward and said the same thing. Like, fine, he might just be copying what the other guy's saying, but that's interesting. That
The Canadian guy.
two military guys, and I'm sure there's more than that.
But wouldn't you like? I don't know. We've done this back and forth. Like, wouldn't you argue that those guys would be dead? Like before they got a chance to get there and blow the whistle.
Well, he is dead, the Canadian guy.
Well, but of old age, I think.
No, I think he died of cancer, so it could
Okay.
be one of those Castro scenarios, you know?
He might have all. Yeah, sure.
Is that the best way to find out this guy, what he says is true, is if he dies soon?
Yeah.
That's the only way to know. 'Cause-
And then remember too that they always said that Gene Roddenberry sat in on the Majestic 8 meetings and based Star Trek off what that was really going on. And if that's the case, there's
remember
an
that, yeah.
intergalactic federation, and we're a part of it. Just it's like that scene in Star Wars, one of the new movies. You know, when they're at the they all the different delegations from the different places
Are in their little
like
pod.
floating
Yeah.
balcony,
where Yoda
and
ends up
there's
fighting.
so many guys, so many different species. Yeah, you know, they pan over and you see the Wookiees and again, I don't want to bring this back to Bigfoot, but like Bigfoot could just be a species from a different planet that got stuck here. They were very primitive. They got here and they have no way of getting back, or their people don't know that they crash landed here.
Can I ask you a question?
I'm just
Maybe we'll
saying.
put this to bed. What percentage do you give to what percentage of you is like, there is no Bigfoot?
What percentage of me is there?
Yeah.
That there is zero
Yeah.
Bigfoot.
Like
that
you, like
I'm being
you're-
duped.
Well, so my question, I guess, is this: you are 100% unequivocally convinced that a Bigfoot or Yeti type character still
To this day. Correct.
walks this earth.
Yes.
Hold on. I want to back that up. You're 100%.
Well, I'm as sure I believe as wholly in that as I do in Aliens or I was gonna say Gravity, but I don't even think I believe in gravity anymore. Like something, indisputable.
So what keeps your fat ass on the ground then?
I think it's electricity.
That's keeping you down.
Yeah, I think gravity was like they couldn't explain something, so they were just like, oh well, we'll just call this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because you can't be upside down in space.
No, you can't.
What do you mean?
Well,
What-
there's no gravity in space, so there
What's
is
up,
no
what's down?
there is no
you
upside down.
definitely see them upside down, the astronauts. They
But-
float and they turn.
Yeah, but what is
There is no up or down. There is no
Listen,
left or right.
if you're in a ship, I get what you're saying. You could say this is the bottom of the ship, that's down. I'm now upside down, but you don't. There's no like. You get that, right?
I mean, look. Who even knows if there is space?
Well, if there is,
If there is,
Well, hold on,
can't
no,
be
you
upside
can't do.
There's
Wait,
an
wait,
up
wait,
and
wait,
a
wait, wait.
down.
Whoa, whoa,
there
whoa,
is
whoa,
not.
whoa.
If
Wait,
there is
Go
space,
on,
there is
go
not.
on. What?
you
what?
can't
I
do
can
what you
have
just
it both
did.
ways. Yeah.
No,
I
you
can.
can't.
Why? Because aliens are interdimensional. We have a fucking dome that surrounds the top of us. It's called the.
I think you need dimensions
Firmament.
to have the up or down.
Keep going, come on.
We are locked in
We
by
have ground
the
and we have sky.
by the belt of.
Uranus,
No, he's talking about the fucking radiation belt.
Saturn's rings.
The belt of Van Allen.
The Van Allen
Of
belt.
Van Allen.
He was also just some guy that hypothesized this, didn't he?
Well, he was probably a guy who got the information downloaded by somebody who built the dome.
Fervament.
The dome.
Yeah.
Let's just
okay.
call it the dome. The firmament seems so religious.
Biblical.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't have that.
So,
Can't have
I
that.
mean, just to get right into the meat and potatoes of this podcast,
All right, let's get to the meat and taters.
this guy
Yeah.
met
Yeah.
an alien life form
Yeah.
and communicated with him or had communications with him. Simon, the floor is yours.
It's funny the way he described the guy he saw running against the wind there, with the weird arms. And then he said he thought he had hypothermia because that's exactly the way that Idris Cole is described in the Mothman prophecies, who's like the very first Men in Black. Interesting.
He had no ears. He's got no ears.
He's got no ears.
But I mean, right now there are aliens. I wouldn't be surprised if Elon was an alien.
There's the Men in Plaid.
Okay. Yeah. The soccer podcast.
No, I've never heard of that.
Oh,
before.
okay.
No, like they're the equivalent of the Men in Black for Bigfoot.
How
I'm being serious here. They show up.
This is about aliens.
Yeah. You know what's weird? You're getting your
spaceships.
cake. You're eating it too, and then you're
I
asking
don't-
for another
I'm
cake.
just-
Galactic Federations.
Right.
And I saw your analogy bring up Bigfoot,
Mhm.
but
I'm just telling you that there's an equivalent. Like the government is.
You can't shoehorn Bigfoot
Okay,
into this
whatever.
one.
You know what?
do you know
You're
how many
getting
Jaguars
aliens.
there are in the United States?
3.
2, and
Oh,
they
2.
know where they both are.
Yeah.
So
According to Joe.
Okay, hold on. I just want to get this. I just want to get this straight. This guy spends months being like, Joe said he'd have more alien guys on, more alien guys. Finally, you get two fucking neckbeards that are in here like, we both saw aliens. We've seen aliens. They're blue. They have no ears. And Simon's like, but what about Bigfoot?
I didn't want it to become a whole thing, man. You're making it a whole thing. It was just in passing. I was telling you, I would be doing a disservice to you and the fucking
no,
12 people listening
There is no
if I
service
didn't.
to us when it comes to big. I'm wearing your shirt.
And I'm clocked out.
We're
Been
pouring-
clocked out for
We're
years.
pouring it down
okay?
here. I really don't think it's appropriate.
You've been on the
For
clock.
Bigfoot to be mentioned in this part of all podcasts, especially when it comes up, but then again with Gad Sad. But I digress.
You digress.
Okay, back to the aliens.
There
So
are
this guy
aliens.
sees a blue guy. His buddy yells out, he's got no fucking ears. And then this guy feels as though he has a telepathic.
Well, he makes noises, but understands what they were through some sort of telepathic.
Yeah, he has like a warm blanket telepathic conversation with this guy where the entity will not go to the military.
He asks him for directions or something, and he says one place, and the guy says, "I'm not going back to those butchers."
Well, the guy says, I
No,
need
it-
like tritinum or tritonum or whatever. And then, yeah, he's like, well, they might have it. And he goes, I'm not going back to those murderers.
What I'm definitely not going to do here is tell you that Bigfoot sightings also have a telepathic aspect some of the time. I wouldn't do that. But
A real piece of shit, huh, Kamar? Like just an up and down fucking piece of shit.
yeah, no, it's interesting. The whole telepathic thing, like that's where you lose most people, right?
Why? If it's an alien, how can you, like, I don't know. I think it's you throw everything out the window when it's something that's come from across the galaxy. Here,
I wonder
right?
what. Yeah, I wonder what that feels like though, to have a thought implanted into your head like that.
I often feel with Matt when you talk about Bigfoot that we're both sensing at the same time. Is this motherfucker?
Yeah, he's implanting that in me, and I'm implanting. Yeah,
no
no
words.
zero verbal. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like when you talk about pretty much anything.
Okay.
Well, Simon, it's weird because, like he said, it's like I think telepathy is one thing where you're like, this guy isn't saying anything. There's just like thoughts in my head from them, versus like almost a live translation. Like, you get what I mean? Like, we currently have like that Google earbud that you can put in. Someone can speak to you in a different language and you hear it translated in your ear. This is just like a kind of one step further, if you really think about it, where it's just like you have something where you speak your language, but it automatically knows the language that you speak. And so you know what I mean? It doesn't even have to be telepathy. Because like the guy said, he heard words, but he felt like it was translated like in his head almost. Because like, what's the purpose of the guy speaking his language if he has telepathy, right?
Well, you would still have to understand what he's saying. Like if he just implanted.
No, because I think, well, here, okay, so this is how I interpret it. Like, thoughts would be different. You wouldn't need language. Like, if, like, let's say love is universal, right? Like, you just have to put the thought of love into someone's head, or deceit. I don't know. Because that's what this guy said too, is he was like, I felt like it had felt love the way I feel love, or hate the way I feel hate. You know what I mean? Like, like it was just an advanced life form of what we are almost. No, he's not listening.
No, I am listening. I'm thinking maybe it was us.
Well, I've always said that. It could just be us from the future.
That's interesting.
Or the same time, but a different dimension.
That's
But
also
I'm
interesting.
always obsessed with.
Yeah.
Time doesn't really matter.
I'm still being nice to people in traffic.
Nice. But even then, Simon,
Says you.
Simon,
Telling you, why would I lie?
you believe
Because
in
you're not being nice to people in traffic.
you believe in many ancient civilizations, and that you believe that they could have been far, far more advanced than we are. There's nothing to say that they didn't send someone out 40,000 years ago, and that person has come back now.
Yeah. Or, yeah, totally.
I need Tritonum.
Could be that whole Mars thing I was telling you about, remember?
No.
The guy had that vision, like he did what do you call it? Astral projection, and he went, his card, he didn't see it until after, but it was Mars 1 million years ago. And Mars used to be populated.
It was like terraformed. It had like, yeah.
No, it was like Earth.
Yeah,
it,
yeah, I
it
get-
had
yeah.
its own thing. And
Terraformed.
they knew they were going to get destroyed somehow, like solar flare or something.
Yeah.
And they froze their people inside the pyramid or whatever.
like
and then
Star
those
Wars.
people de-thawed early and now are trying to get to Earth. Something like that. I don't know.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
Well, what else you got for these
It
alien
is, you know
fucks?
what is, was it this episode where they talked about Mars, or is it Gadsad?
I think it's Gadsad.
Okay.
Or Brian Simpson, actually.
Really?
The other guy, so this guy actually has an encounter. The other guy is putting together an app for people to put sightings together. So that's hopeful that you can get some more information. There's one point when they talked about footage. And they specifically, I can't tell you how I saw that or something. Something affected the technology that is capturing this cannot be admitted to existing. I mean, that's what I got from it.
So they have cameras that are so advanced that they don't want anybody to know about.
I don't even know if you could wear the camera, whatever it is, because they also spoke about researchers are leaving these bases with technology and then patenting it and making millions of dollars. They didn't have any concrete example. Or maybe someone's just inspired by something they observed working on these machines that'll shortcut them to, like clear aluminum.
Or maybe it really is
Star
what they've
Trek.
always said, that the aliens, whoever, some species who likes us, gave us,
Yeah, let's speed it up.
let's speed it up. Yeah. But there are certain things that they say, the microchip, Velcro,
Yeah,
whatever
fiber
the
optics.
fuck,
Yeah,
fiber
yeah,
optics.
But it's sort of weird that one person profits off it, right?
No, because in a way, like
Can't speak as a Canadian. I can't say that, but as an American person,
I disagree because you that's how you get it to the public. That's how it seems more plausible. Oh, this guy, like Simon always says, this guy came up with this in his garage. And in reality, he was working at Area S7 and they gave it to him and they were like, look, you get to be filthy rich and you get to claim that you created this.
Or it might not even be a military thing. Maybe it's an alien wanting to get their information out. And that's why guys like Nikola Tesla, like remember, Nikola Tesla always said he was in communication with aliens. They would ask him, how do you have these amazing ideas? And he would tell them that he spoke to this certain alien.
that is true.
It's like a donation, but to mankind
And
instead of just
he was
you
just
know.
dismissed and treated, and then that's why everyone would act the way they act now because of what happened to him as a
Well,
cautionary
look,
tale.
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that Nikola Tesla was erased from history. And not only that, but like a lot of people still think that he was like a bird fucker or whatever.
Definitely a bird fucker.
No, I don't remember what it was.
He was in love with
fucked.
his pigeon.
With his pigeon. They labeled him a bird fucker.
But if he invented anything and he is erased from history, then that is suspicious, if nothing else.
Ah, look at Tesla with his free energy and his bird fucking.
If you can go back to Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo,
Well, and that free energy ties into
Tataria,
Tataria. Thank you. Fuck, Kamar. Boom. That
I told you,
Bigfoot
Blazer Kamar.
shirt
Blazer Kamar is on
uh,
fire. You cannot fuck with.
But
Blazer
yeah,
Kamar.
that's why all those buildings in the old days were built with those big metal turrets at the top, because that's how they were harnessing the energy. So then people would go into these places and
the Tatarian energy.
no, the Tesla, what's the word?
I don't know.
Moving
I think
on.
you're making it up. Yeah, moving on. Thank you, Kumar.
should the whole world have the same rules?
No,
This is something they were discussing.
isn't that kind of how you have culture? Like the difference in rules.
The laws make the culture.
What do you mean?
I mean,
though,
listen,
should
hold
they
on.
have the same rules, like universal government governing us all?
See, I don't know. I guess you have to have universal government to enforce said rules, but is it like?
I mean, realistically, Simon, there probably should be 5 world tenets that we live by. Don't fuck
Or-
kids.
yeah, we're
no
like-
slavery. You know what I mean? Like, I think as a group,
Genital mutilation probably
Yeah,
not
like-
happen.
and are there rules to the universe? Furthermore to that,
don't forget too, we do that in the Geneva Convention, right? Like landmines was something that they were.
there are
like,
rules. People still break them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And there are certain countries that don't give a fuck about the Geneva Convention.
I
Like,
agree.
go tell Hezbollah that they're
Yeah,
going to be tried for war crimes.
Oh, this Jew bringing Hezbollah into it.
As did Gad said.
Another one. It's like DJ Khaled.
The trophy fish is interesting, eh?
What do you mean?
Well, it's just, Joe just got into. They don't actually. I guess they used to like get the fish, gut it, cover it with varnish, stick it on the thing.
Now you just get like a
They remake
carbon
it, but
copy of your
that
fish.
idea of the blue, be a marlin
The
or a
marlin, yeah.
swordfish, and some guys would just that image we always had growing up of that.
Is that even true? People don't taxidermy fish anymore?
Well,
According
taxidermy is
to Joe.
illegal in a lot of places. Like you can't do taxidermy in Ontario, I think it is.
I think
Quebec.
you can. You just need a license.
Okay.
Isn't
No,
that just?
it's true. You just can't like pull over at the side of the road, grab a deer, go home and, stuff it. But if you have a license, you can grab that deer and go home and stuff it. Look it up, man.
You look it up.
Oh, I thought you were.
I feel like every
I don't need to look it up, Matt, because I'm right.
Oh, really?
every third house in Florida has a marlin somewhere in some room.
Yeah, but some of those marlins are real.
Sure, I don't care if they're real or fake. It's just that you don't see a lot around here.
Like I have a turtle shell. It looks exactly like a real turtle shell. It's a copy of a turtle shell, but they use the real turtle shell to make the mold.
It's an illusion.
It's not.
Well, no, it's
I'm agreeing with what you said. Fuck.
it's just like what the fuck is it called? Fossils.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's
100%.
not bone. It's like it's calcium.
Calcified
It's calcium
stone.
where there was a bone. Yeah.
Excuse me.
They also told the story of Ebron, who is an alien that convinced their person to push them into a portal or something. So You don't remember that story they
no,
told?
I do not remember that story.
Do you remember
they
that story they
About
told?
This is where I said
Ibram.
when it fell apart when he was like he had all these names and places like
Yeah, so that does a stretch. But again, because they talked about Romulus on Brian Simpson, I watched that movie. Just this idea of the ship firing up with switches and metals.
Which one's Romulus?
The newest Alien
I saw it. Terrible.
movie.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all.
We'll get into that, Brian Simpson, but just that idea of a craft that has a nuclear generator in it and shakes when it goes through. That's just not happening.
There was always stories about like the Roswell alien. Roswell.
Area 51,
That
yeah.
whole thing. So apparently they pulled
51, 52.
they pulled
Area
two
52.
aliens out of that wreckage. One of them died, but one of them ended up like surviving and being an American.
President.
No, like they would talk to it to get
Yeah,
information for a long time. Like
Yeah.
it lived like whatever, another 40 years or something before it died.
Oh, it just makes
And
me think,
it had a name.
just makes me think of Patrice O'Neill talking about Independence Day.
How terrible that movie is.
Oh, he's like Will Smith. He's like he punched he knocked the alien out. He knocked the alien's suit out.
Yeah, he didn't even punch the alien's face. He punched the face mask and knocks the alien out. It's crazy. You're a fucking weak human.
The best though is that throughout Opie and Anthony, Patrice O'Neill always spoke about how poorly black people were portrayed in film. And then they talk about how the gay dude in that movie, how he's so over the top gay. You remember in Independence Day?
I don't remember the gay guy.
He plays a very small part. He's got
Is he a
he's like,
white guy
he's
or
like,
black
"Go."
guy?
He's a Jew. He's like,
Oh, I
"Someone
know exactly who he is. I know exactly who he is.
Go get my
Yeah.
dog.
Go get my dog.
But they bring that up, and Patrice is fine with it. And they're like, Patrice, he's the most over the top. And he's like, oh man, they really do it to everyone in Hollywood, don't they? Fuck, it's hilarious. Go ahead, Kumar. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to derail with old Opie and Anthony.
Yeah. So there's much clearer images. I think that's what we could hope for
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
We could
before
hope.
we die to see those that could. But and Puerto Rico is the big hotspot for UFOs.
Well, didn't Trump come out this week and say that all those New Jersey drones were U.S. drones or hobbyists? Or I guess we're going to talk about that, aren't we? Yeah.
We are,
Sorry.
we are.
Sorry. Yeah. So we're done with the aliens.
I mean,
What?
w-
Do you want to be here all night
Sorry,
anyway?
Simon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've already been here 6 hours.
what
dealing
notes
with
did I
technical
miss
issues.
that you had? Exactly. I give it a 4. I mean, if this guy did meet this alien, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard. And if
Pretty
it's
big
full of
if.
shit, people do make stuff up. I've been had, so that's why it's not a 5.
You're Matt. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you 3 guesses
Okay.
to guess the name of the actor who plays the gay guy in Independence Day. I'm going to give you the initials to help you, okay?
Okay.
His initials are HF.
Hector Franco.
No, Matt. He's a Jew.
Yeah.
He's a
Okay.
Jew.
HF.
HF. Just think about the most. Just do you, Matt.
Simon, I'm so out of it lately. Just give me the name. What's his name? How Jewy is it?
It's the most Jewy.
Let me hear it.
Harvey Feinstein.
That's right.
Like I thought for sure
That's
you were
right.
going to guess
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Harvey, I never would have gone.
No,
Feinstein.
but
I thought.
Howie Feinstein. Come on, man. You are off your game. You're,
He's
you're
so-
off your
he's-
anti-Semitic
he's
game.
So gay and so Jewish in that movie. It's yeah.
You couldn't be more gay. or
Where's
more
my
Jewish.
dog? What? It's in my asshole.
Oh my god,
I'll give it a 3.
dude! As soon as you did the
the voice. Oh, yeah.
I knew him right away.
Simon, I gave it I'll give it a 3.5. Fine. Fuck it. I guess if it's true.
If it's true, I mean,
It's a 5
it's
for
a
you,
5
right?
Again, but I found this. I don't know.
Did you believe him? How about that in closing? Do you believe this guy saw what he saw?
Only
Yeah,
up
I
until
do.
I saw him.
I just don't believe that anybody in this day and age would be stupid enough to try and pull a scam when there's so much information. You know what I mean? It's so easy to
Can I ask one thing in closing?
discredit.
We know what we know about the U.S. government and the military, that they will test shit on their own people. Like, is there any way this guy was just MK Ultra, like so high out of his mind?
Yep, that is possible.
Right? Like that, we always got to leave that open, right?
Absolutely. Because remember, I said that Barney and Betty Hill, the very first abduction on record, seems to me like a CIA op, an FBI op. Like it really does. They are on the road. All of a sudden, a bright light hits them, and then they're on like this fucking space trip. It sounds like they got drugged and.
Because don't forget too, the way the U.S. government works, like if enough people come out and are like, "I've seen aliens," they'll dump $1 billion into that right away, just on the off chance that there is, right?
Yeah.
So if you have credible sources saying it, then all of a sudden you can dump 50x that money into
and
it.
remember, not only that we know that for every op, there's like a person who's out there spreading misinformation about that op.
Of course.
Because that's how the American government works. I don't remember what it's called, but they do it for pretty much everything. We know that they did it for...
What was the cute name they used? They had in the Metzger one. It was like Operation, where they were like dropping shit on black people in Philadelphia or Atlanta or something. And it was like
Operation. We'd
like
never do that.
Sprinkle dust or whatever.
Yeah, Stardust.
Yeah.
No, but we know because of what is his fucking name? Dowdy. And
Whatever, we got to move on.
And
I'm
then
sorry.
there's like it's a famous one where they convinced this guy that he was crazy for believing in aliens, and they like fed him all this fake information. And I think it's Richard Dowdy. Look it up.
All right, Kamar, move on. Let's do it.
2266, Brian Simpson.
Okay, so just on the whole Mars tip, just to wrap these two together. So you know that there are people out there who believe that there have been civilizations on Mars, and that we see, like, there's the face on Mars, there's the Mars pyramids, they have like pictures where they say these lines are too perfect. This is obviously the remains of an old whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually one that they found that's a giant, like imagine Mount Rushmore. I don't know what they call that. It's like a mountain relief or whatever.
Okay.
So it's a giant cliff face. So 20, 30 times the size of Mount Rushmore. And it's a giant parrot.
Okay.
I'm just that they think that that's on Mars. So if that is true, and we're looking at like the remains of a civilization on Mars, that's fucking cool.
Where they
man.
were ruled by parrots.
Maybe
The talking bird.
maybe their god was, maybe those aliens are bird people.
You never know.
Well, of course we don't know. That's
I mean, listen, dude, if parrots started talking 5,000 years ago, they might have been revered more. Like, I don't know when they started being like...
maybe they started, maybe when we got here, there were parrot men, and we fucking humans decided that we can't have fucking parrot men.
Yeah. Like Tesla, they're talking, this guy's fucking
All these
bird.
guys want are crackers.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. Okay, go
Mars
ahead.
had
Come on.
enough. He's done.
Oh,
He's already
yeah.
checked out.
Brian Simpson came back
So
to the
so unprofessional.
back to the studio. And
Pull your hat down a little more.
do you remember what your first car was?
Pontiac Sunfire.
I had a red Audi that was given to me. It was so old. No, it was like really.
Sounds good.
Even when I got it, it seemed like an antique. You know what I mean?
It's old money
It
though,
was-
over here.
it was
I got a
standard.
used Benz.
Well, no, I got it from my aunt and uncle who
Yeah.
owned Le Chateau, and it had been in storage for I don't know how many years. It was like my uncle's car.
Yeah, I
Anyways.
bought a used car off my family like in the last 5 years, and it's a Honda Fit. So it's, not a lot of Audis floating around in my family. That's all I'm saying. Kamar, how many Audis in your family?
Do you want to talk about Audis?
Counting my sister, 0.
Counting the car that my sister lost her virginity in, 0. One. That would be
BS.
one.
Let's go.
So Joe's like, everyone remembers their first car. Everyone remembers their first car. And Brian just won't say what his first car was.
It's probably something very white.
I'm assuming it was a Honda Accord or something. Mine was
Probably
a
a Ford Fiesta.
85 Caprice Classic.
He oddly
That car was amazing.
he strikes me as someone that would soup up like a Honda Del Sol and go to shows.
Honda Del Sol, nice.
You know what I mean? Like he's got like a huge spoiler on it, like the cherry bomb fucking exhaust. Like,
Well, I like how Joe's big plan is that everybody's first car is a 1996 Mazda Miata.
Sure. It's probably one of the gayest cars ever created.
I mean, it would make sense that they had built all cars small like that, though. Like instead of the trend going to becoming these giant SUVs, and then we have problems with parking and we have problems, right? Like if everybody drove a Mini, they would be able to fit a lot more cars into parking lots and parking
But
garages.
that's why in Europe,
why
in Europe all those small cars are
well,
popular.
that's
And trucks.
because all the streets are
In
so
Asia.
old, Maddie.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Like they have those Vespa little vans everywhere. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
You know what a Vespa is?
Adapting.
You know what a Vespa is? Yep.
Sure do.
It's an adapt.
It's a real piece of shit.
Did you guys want a super motorcycle when you were 17?
No, I've never wanted one.
I do remember going.
I
through
once
that.
crashed this scooter, and ever since then, I have not wanted one. But before that, I always thought I wanted a
Yeah, that was
motorcycle.
funny.
My mom also told me, she's like, you're never getting I'll kill you if
A
you get a
donor
motorcycle.
cycle.
What's the nicest car you've ever driven? Isn't it crazy? Like I've always driven shit cars. And then when you get behind the wheel of like a nice car with a good engine.
What's the
and like
nicest car you've ever driven?
A Lincoln, I think.
No. There was a super fast Honda in the early 2000s, like the S2000. My
don't
drug
know.
dealer buddy drove one of
I
those.
drove a stolen Integra, but I don't think.
No, that doesn't count. I drove a Alfa Romeo Spider
There we go.
That's class A.
convertible, and it had the gear shift on, like it comes out of the dash.
Well, that's weird.
It's up here.
I hate that.
Yeah, it's crazy. But that thing cooks.
So this podcast happened right after the helicopter hit the plane,
Uh-huh.
which, funnily enough, they just released the third pilot's name, where they're holding it back today. Did you see the footage of the crash?
No.
No.
I saw Trump blaming it on all sorts of funny
Obama
stuff.
and Biden.
Well, the pilot of the helicopter.
I think Trump blamed it on Clinton somehow.
The helicopter pilot was a woman.
Oh, there we go. Now we know why.
But what happened in the manuscript, they can say, or the script. What's it
I don't think
called?
it's a script.
What's it
but
called?
That's a good name for it.
The black box.
No, it's the transcript
Yeah.
of the conversation is the tower saying, "Do you see it?" and the helicopter saying, "I see it." But when you see the footage, you can't really see the plane they hit. There's another plane further away, but still in the area that you can see. And I think the helicopter
Thought that was the plane.
thought that was the plane
Had a visual on that
it's
plane.
happened so fast after they say that. Like it's basically, yeah, I see it, ka-chink, and there's a huge explosion.
But how? I don't get it. Like, if it's that close to them, how is the tower not like
pull up, get out of there.
pressed
Yeah,
on, Do you see it? Like,
yeah. Hey,
What?
hey, you're about
That-
to get smoked.
that's
yeah, like what are you doing?
That's a question.
Don't like alarms start
That's
going off and
That's a
shit.
question a lot of people are asking. They're also saying the helicopter was never supposed to go above 200 feet, and the collision happened at 375 feet. Obviously, the plane's coming down.
And I can see how that could happen. Like the helicopter loses track of where it is, or maybe it's system malfunctioned or something.
So something like that happened, and it's just saying if you have the reaction time because it's at dark, and so the plane basically you're just seeing the lights. But if behind it the Capitol building has lights on it, you could think, and it takes a second. They're saying in the night, so it might have just been a horrible accident. I don't think there's any foul play
They're
whatsoever.
making it seem like these are ships in the night. You know what I mean? Like they have radar. There's radars watching them from the tower.
There's eyes on them from the tower too.
They have that shit in their plane. Like,
But they're also
this
saying
is so weird.
this is the busiest airspace in the country.
I think Simon's point is more that like, how is there not a failsafe in both crafts that's like in impending doom?
because
The
military has a different radar or something
Forget-
that isn't fully shared.
Forget the military though. Like the planes, there should be nothing that can get in their airspace without them knowing about it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what I wanted to get over to is that I don't know if you saw, but immediately there were people diving down to try to. I mean, they couldn't rescue anyone, but
To get mammoth bones?
no, to find survivors or bodies on the plane.
got it.
Well, could you just imagine you're sitting in Washington D.C. or your special forces first responder and you get that call, and all of a sudden you're in
Yeah, it's crazy.
freezing waters. You can't see anything, and you're trying to find a person surviving. It's just insane that that's someone's job.
We were watching a totally unrelated topic. But
Is this you derailing the
but
conversation?
just speaking of speed, we were watching there's like a new OJ documentary on Netflix for some reason. And I don't know if you remember, you might have been too young, but when that happens, they're following the white
Chase,
Bronco
yeah.
for whatever. People are out on the bridges, they're out on the highways, like with signs, like they mobilize so fucking quickly. It is insane.
But you think about it, that wouldn't have happened if we had phones. People would just be watching on their phones.
Somebody would film
But
it.
it was like,
no, but maybe they would still go out there. They were supporting
I think
OJ.
they wanted to get out there because they get on the helicopter.
No, I think it's still both. Because I think you're forgetting that a lot of people were just like, I live 5 blocks from the highway. He's 6 miles out.
More so than
I
that.
can just run down to the bridge.
You see, yeah, I didn't take into account how close people must have lived to that highway.
Of course. He drove through fucking LA on the 5.
Yeah.
There were
I think it's the
neighborhoods on
5.
either side of that highway.
Anyways, either way, they mobilize real fast.
Did they show the part where his lawyer reads out his suicide note?
Yes, they did show
Is
that.
the most suspect thing?
Okay.
If you didn't do something, I'm going to write a suicide note anyway.
Well, they don't call it a suicide note. They say it's just a note that he.
Well, he says,
left.
I'm done. I can never come back from this.
Yeah, but they still contend because he's innocent, Kamar. That wasn't a suicide note. It was simply a note he was writing to his family.
Of course.
I just love when he's like, I'm not black, I'm OJ.
But you could also say that he might have thought that the police were going to kill him, so that's why he wrote that note. You know,
4D theater. Any desire to go? Too old? Have you outgrown that?
what is that's like,
Ryan discussed he went to a movie theater where they spray you and
Yeah, I
No,
have
thank
desire.
you. No, thank you.
too gimmicky.
No, who wants to be wet during the movie?
So yeah, they both thought Romulus was good.
Well, it's not just water. That's not the only gimmick they have. Like, you don't have to go see The Final Storm. You know what I mean? Like, you can go see, the idea is that, like, if it's, like, for example, Kamar, the Sphere, it's kind of 4D. Like, there's a part where you're flying over a hill and they clearly put a breeze into the theater. That's, you know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
something that you can get down with. Where
Or
you're
if
not,
it's like a smell, they could
Precisely.
You know, if you're
Sometimes-
in like a garbage dump, they could make it smell like garbage. No, I don't want that.
he always goes to the extreme. They could make it smell like a garbage dump in there.
Or I
They-
guess they could make it smell like something good too. If it was a bakery, you
Yeah.
can smell fresh croissants.
I shouldn't ask
precisely.
questions if I don't want the answer.
Well, that's true.
They talked about Romulus,
The movie.
and they both
None
thought it
of
was
us
good, and
like-
none of us think it's good,
No.
except for the idea that belt is like a grinder.
I'm going to be real. I've never understood the big appeal of the Alien franchise. I'm very sorry.
Matt, I'm totally with you.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm a guy who likes aliens.
I know. I just,
I find the first one incredibly boring,
I would submit
Yeah.
this. I would submit this when
but I'll tell you what I do.
go ahead, submit.
when the
submit.
first Alien comes out, it's on the heels of Star Wars. So you have this idea of what space is, but it's still very good cowboys and Indians. This is more.
I very much liked Prometheus. That's the one where you find
I
out.
know,
Like, And I also love the Predator movies. And I like how there's a Predator Alien lore crossover. Like, I like the lore of the Alien movies.
Sure.
I don't like the movies, though.
Predator is a better alien than the alien.
Predator is a way better alien than Alien. Yeah, agreed.
Sure, I can agree with you. I like the lore, but I think, yeah, the execution was piss poor.
Yeah, like when Joe's constantly, it's just another one of those, like, no, you've been saying that for a long time and you probably haven't seen the movie in 35 years. Like, there's a lot of movies that I have like a soft spot inside
Yeah, because
for
when you were a kid,
until
it made
I
you feel a way.
rewatch.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, this was garbage and I was stupid.
Joe proclaimed Nosferatu the greatest vampire movie ever. Simon, you've seen it. I can imagine your chagrin.
I mean, in all fairness, I slept through, like I admitted, like 85% of it, but the 15% or you know what I mean? I slept through 75. The 25% I saw stunk.
that takes away your credibility.
That's the new one, right?
That's the new one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But I do love myself. Who's the fellow there?
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Who's the fellow there? Defoe. I love Defoe.
Willem Dafoe. Yeah, he's good.
I really do like him. They went
But
to
Gary Oldman?
So you're
Oldman
taking
is the
offense that
man.
Gary Oldman in
No, he's
Bram
saying that-
Stoker's Acura. He's not in.
Bram Stoker's Acura.
That's the car that fucking Dracula drives in.
No, that's what they call him in China. Racula.
Okay.
Whoa.
I think they call him Dr. Acula.
Dr. Acula.
Ba-dum-ching.
That's from Scrubs, which they're remaking. Did you know that? There's gonna
You're
be a
stealing
new
gags from
Scrubs.
Scrubs?
Scrubs is a very funny show. Have you watched Scrubs?
I don't think so.
No, I'm not going to let this derail. Gary Oldman. What are you saying about him?
You're an idiot.
Gary was a incredible Dracula.
And so saying Nosferatu. Well, Bill Skarsgård is a creepy looking guy.
Yeah, but he's terrible in this movie. You could have gotten anybody. Like, he hardly talks at all.
I'll have to watch it to see it.
You could
Gary Oldman's incredible. It's Gary fucking Oldman.
remember. That's what I said when I told you guys about the movie. It was like a Groot scenario. You're
Yeah,
paying
yeah.
for the name of Bill Skarsgård, but it could have been anybody behind the mask.
Well, the more you go on, the more I think it's probably a good movie. Well, today we're going to do a myriad of movies that were selected. It's the original Predator with Arnold and Carl Weathers.
It's the JREE movie game. The time has come again. For Matt and Simon to rack the brains to guess the budget in the box office. We all know they won't guess the year, and the Patreons are the real winners here at the JREE movie game. Come on, take it away, baby.
It's the movie game where Matt and Simon go head to head to find out what year a movie came out, how much it cost to make, and how much it made at the box office. This week we're doing the OG Predator, which some people may not even know that the Predator and Prey is from this. And you know that thing when you see something the first time, you think that's what it is. We would not even know.
The movie Prey
Prey is about the Predator,
is a Predator movie. Yes.
but nothing to do with Arnold Schwarzenegger or the lineage.
No, it has to do with the Predator lore, which is the good part about Predator.
But you may just see Prey as a one-off if you're 12 years old and you see movies first
Well, they're
time.
doing a Prey #2, and I think it takes place during the war or something. Like,
Well, they
World
can do
War
Prey
II.
through
Can do anything
any
in
century,
history.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Predator was always going back, looking for the strongest humans to fight.
the other.
I mean, do you
Or
have a
to-
year?
to capture? I do, Matt.
What year do you have?
I said 1988.
I said 1982.
Simon, you were really close. 1987.
Oh fuck, man! I knew
Wow.
I was right there. I knew
was
it.
way off.
I knew it.
That was way
Um,
off. Hold on, Chico. Take it easy. Take it easy. Have anything, Simon?
Yeah, I'm gonna say it cost 28 million to make,
And it grossed.
and it grossed 120.
I said it cost 17 and it made 48.
But you're pretty close on the budget. $18
Mott.
million budget.
Oh, I nailed that.
Wow,
Box office 98.3 million.
so I'm very close on that.
That's a push.
What did you say it made?
I said 28 120.
Simon almost got the year, and you almost got the budget.
I was
Well, you got
50
the
off,
budget.
You were
I
20
mean.
off,
For
whatever.
fuck's sakes, that's not on.
Pretty close.
And
is that
that's
what
the
I said?
movie game. Brian Simpson talks about being in an incel, I believe, and doesn't realize he's doing it.
What incel?
He says, I don't like people. I don't like company. I don't like friends, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's
Sounds
incel
like
talk.
somebody who doesn't have friends.
Long, fast news cycle, whatever you want to call it. The truck in New Orleans, and they started off talking a lot about the explosion at Trump Tower, but I mean, that is ancient history at this point, right?
Yeah.
With tariffs coming down the pike and plane crashes, and then another plane crash in Philadelphia, and who knows what else is going on.
You know what's crazy to me is they were talking about Joe. They were talking about alcohol at one point, and he's like, you know, I have a lot of friends who drink, but nobody has a problem. Like, we're out every night drinking, and it's not an issue for anybody.
Hey, you guys all work 9 to
You're
5
all
jobs.
fucking alcoholics. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's definitely a thing about. I think drugs are only issue if they start affecting your life, and you have a lot of money.
That's
It's
what
a
I'm
lot
saying. If you-
longer till-
Listen, when you work at a nightclub and you work fucking 45 minutes a night, it's not a big deal if you have some drinks with friends that night. This guy's a fucking slob.
But I mean,
Would a
Bert,
slob do that, Matt?
Yes, yes.
we think Bert might have a problem.
Clip that, farm boys.
I don't think you have a problem if you're getting rich off it.
Well, it's not a problem. It's not a problem until it's a problem.
Sure, but like
Deep.
Thank you.
unless he's lying, Bert's like, I've gone to my doctor, I've done the full workup, and like I'm healthy and fine. So who gives a shit? And he's getting rich off it, as I will double down on.
So then they got to talk about fights. And do you guys know what they were talking about?
No.
Someone said something, got in a lot of trouble or kicked out, ruined their career.
Oh yeah, it was
Bryce Howard. Not
Mitchell.
Bryce Howard. Bryce Mitchell. Dana is so funny, eh? This guy is the stupidest person I've ever met in my whole life.
He went on a podcast, Kamar, and he was like,
It's his podcast.
"Oh, was that his
It was
podcast?"
the very first episode of his
Well,
podcast.
that's a good way to get a lot of traction. He was just like, I think Hitler was a good guy.
Yeah. Okay, I saw that.
Yeah, you did see that.
Listen, Sam Tripoli borders on that, where he says, I don't believe the whole Hitler narrative. He thinks that Hitler was built up by the Americans. It was like an Osama bin Laden type of situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, where he was
they're
really just a nationalist who cared about Germany, and the Americans made him out to be this Jew killing, gypsy killing.
or made him into that, like
Story over
brought
time.
him and trained him and then sent him back. It's like you create this Frankenstein. I don't think any of that. I'm just telling you what Sam Tripoli
I'm with you.
thinks.
Yeah, I got you.
So if you want to send hate mail, direct it towards the Tinfoil Hat podcast.
No, don't. He was nice to us. He gave us a shout out.
Sam Tripoli did?
Yeah, on his podcast. You don't remember?
And did he get our name right?
Yeah.
Really?
No.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did. What are you talking about? Yes, he did. He got our name right and everything.
Okay, well, direct that hate mail towards Joe Rogan then,
There you go.
and his right-wing organization.
There you go. Come on, are we done with Brian Simpson?
I have a great story for the post, Joe, all about that, actually. You're going to love it.
Yeah, Brian came
For-
and Brian
for the
went,
toaster.
rate it. I give it 2.5.
I give it a 2.
I will give it a 1.5. I don't mind Brian Simpson.
No,
But,
we just didn't need
like,
this episode.
It's just so lame when these comedians go on our sounding board for Joe. Like, just do a podcast with Jamie if that's the case.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, that's
That's
it. We're
it.
going to take a break. We're going to pay a bill, and we will be right back. We're back.
And we're back.
Just stepping on toes.
You wanna try that
Just
again?
Stepping on toes. No, I do not. We're going with that one.
And
We're going
back.
We're going with that one.
We are back in time. Back in time. Gotta get back in time.
Come on, name and a number.
2265 Kurt Metzger.
Curtis Metzger.
Fucking love Kurt Metzger so much. It's like Joe actually laughs at his jokes. That's how funny he is. He's undeniably funny that Joe can't not get it.
I think he also laughs to slow Kurt down.
I was gonna say my only problem is his verbal diarrhea of like there were so many times where Joe was like, hold on, we gotta go back to whatever it was you were talking about absolutely 3 minutes ago where we started this point.
You guys, y'all are playing fucking checkers.
Oh, here we
This
go.
guy is
Yeah.
playing 4D chess. He knows that the only way to not have to listen to fucking bow hunting and fighting
Oh,
is
touche.
to never stop talking.
Touche.
Never stop
Yeah.
talking.
Don't give up. It's like Trump's handshake, right? Like don't give up an inch.
N
No D.
S T.
No D and not N. Don't stop.
Never
Oh,
stop-
never stop talking.
never
Sorry.
stop talking.
Mine was don't stop talking. Yeah.
Don't stop believing. Did you guys see the footage of the autistic aide?
No, I didn't see
Mouthing
it. No.
the own words to her speech.
But it was weird when it was played, but I guess they're the aide.
They probably wrote the speech.
But they're
of course, they wrote the speech.
Yeah.
but they're just listening to the person deliver the speech, and they make a mistake, and they all of a sudden like, do, and then lean forward and say, "You meant to say this" or whatever.
What's funny to me is when Elon does it, Joe was like, "This guy's a super genius." When someone else does it, Joe's like, "There's some nefarious shit
I think
going
it's a
on here."
Manchurian candidate situation.
Like, what are we? This is my point.
I don't know if that's exactly what he's saying. I think it's still a super genius, but you don't think of us using other humans as our supercomputers around us. Or at least that's the first example I saw.
That's
of it.
not how I looked at it. I just saw it as this woman wrote the speech.
Yep.
So she's obviously autistic. She's sitting there mouthing the words to the speech as the woman is giving the speech. She fucks up. She knows it right away because she's written the speech.
Yeah.
And then she corrects her. It's weird that you're being corrected in real time during a speech. That is odd. I'll give you that. But the like lead up to it to me seems
as
pretty
interesting.
fucking normal. It's
Kurt-
funny. It's funny that she's mouthing the speech.
Kurt contends that they let Trump run for president to make it easier for Hillary, and so he's so much more of an anomaly
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
that he was supposed to lose just to,
Dude, that's so funny, eh? They're like, listen, we need you to be president, Hillary.
We're
We're
gonna
gonna
give
give
you
you
with the
with a
easiest
dummy,
fucking, yeah, we're
with
gonna
a dummy guy.
yeah, we've never given
and
anyone
she
a
still
softball like
loses.
this
That's
ever.
How
Yeah.
that's how badly she is hated.
well, it's funny you say that. It's sort of like a DEI thing.
Go on.
Well, we want a woman to be president, and this is the easiest way to do it is put the most cantankerous, unsavory person against her, and she'll win.
You see, I didn't
And we'll
again.
get a woman.
I
in.
didn't see anything about. I don't see it as being a woman thing. I see it as she is the fucking. She is a cog in the military industrial
Establishment.
complex. She's the perfect person to have in there. Like, I don't know. But having her be a woman is, I guess, a bonus if these guys even care about that shit. Like, I don't think the military industrial complex gives one fuck about wokeness. Unless it's like making them money somehow, I don't think they give a fuck.
The
Just fucking crickets.
but no,
over
you
here.
looked at him. He didn't say anything.
Well, no, occasionally we
Kumar,
look.
what do you think about the military-industrial complex? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, when he looked at you after, he was looking for your input. Yeah.
I
I had
saw-
already given him some input.
There was a guy saying on Valuetainment, but he's a guy that's on CNN and CBS a lot, so he's not like a right.
He's not
show
one of
necessarily.
Yeah, sure.
That there is a group because Patrick was trying to get him to say the deep state
Exists.
This who it is.
Yeah.
And he was saying there's definitely a group that doesn't care who's going to win.
They benefit no matter what.
In both of them. They're giving if we give you 500 million, we're giving them 500 million. We're going to get what we want, or whatever that money they give is worth the concessions. So they are keeping their thing going, whether they are because he was asking about the World Economic Forum, and he was saying Klaus Schwab is a separate. He is what he is. He wasn't defending him or saying he's a mad guy, but I don't think anyone is sort of fully got their hands on the lever.
Well, we know like not Rumsfeld. What's his name?
Colin
Cheney.
Powell.
No,
Okay,
Cheney.
Cheney, yeah.
We know that Cheney, like, we assume he's a cog of the military industrial complex, but he's dispendable. Like, when the Republicans lose, which they did at one point, he was gone. He was out of power. He was useless to everybody. You
Yeah, and
know what I
Obama
mean?
dropped more fucking drone bombs than any president ever. I'm just saying, right after, if you're
No. He gets back in. They get back in. He comes back with the, like, I guess he was working first with the old Bush or whoever, and then he loses.
You are unreal.
On to the
Do you have
machine.
paper towel?
I'm
Please tell me that's on the expensive machine.
Close.
Oh man.
Listen, I talk with my hands. I'm of that people. Like, okay, well, I will. I'll move it to the other side.
Well, he's getting that.
What was I talking about?
Military industrial complex.
Oh, Cheney. So anyway, and then he comes back with the new Bush, and that's when they do all the damage. But my point is, there's people behind the scenes who never leave, no matter who comes into power. Those are the people we have to worry about. I don't know who they are. I don't know who their names are,
unelected.
but they are around. Yeah, it's like the governor general here, I guess. You know what I mean? They're like appointed and they never leave. Here. And they never leave.
Well, I mean, those people must be in Canada too, because right now we have no governments.
Well, what does
And
that, what does that mean?
Everything keeps running. The elected officials are not working, but we see like
So
lights.
what do you mean we have no government? Trudeau is still in charge.
Yeah, but what can he do?
Well, he can do the same thing that Biden could do weeks before Trump was in. He can pull the button on well, we don't have nuclear bombs, but you know what I mean?
I don't even
They
know.
still have all the power. I'm sorry, Matt.
They have all the power of the minority government they were. I don't know. I don't know what.
Well, then what does the prime minister really do
Speaking
then?
of Trudeau,
Kumar?
though. Speaking of Trudeau,
No, you're not pulling us into this.
Kurt brags that he always has receipts, and the proof is that Castro had 600 attempts on his life.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
No, how useless are you as an organization?
Yeah.
If I can't believe that.
Yeah.
600, it must be a exaggeration. That's crazy.
Well, Kurt says it's public record, and maybe attempt is like it was written as an idea and never even tried.
Yeah. Like, look, we know they tried some really weird shit, and that's the stuff they tried. The exploding cigar, the fucking
Yeah, but how incompetent is the CIA?
injectable cancer. They
Well, we look at it from through the prism or the eyes of the technology we have now.
No, but still, I mean, all these attempts on the same dude. Come on, your job is to assassinate people. His job is to be a fucking dictator of a small country or
But
whatever.
you are trying to
know?
make it look like an accident.
Well, are you?
I'm assuming,
You're just trying to
I'm
make
assuming
you're just
that
trying to make it look like it's not you.
I would just blow him up then if I didn't care if it was an accident.
I'm just saying 600 attempts seems
Well, maybe they tried to do that. Maybe he was just so fucking careful that he never got in a
They
car.
only know because 600 attempts were thwarted.
Like, isn't there somebody who never got in a car again? A rapper,
yeah, J. Cole
J. Cole. He rides his bike everywhere.
Because of
because of Diddy.
It's like
And- Kid Cudi.
Yeah.
Napoleon would never eat his own food.
Yeah.
He always had a
Had a
taster.
taster,
Like
yeah.
That's just fucking being smart.
So
man.
cool.
It's being smart 101.
Well, when you're that hated, it's like, oh,
I'm
you
with
have
you.
to be careful.
So when we were young,
Like I said, Matt, sometimes it's hard to tell.
Go ahead, Kumar.
before when we were young, it was George Sr. and he was compared to as I remember they'd call him Hitler.
Who
And
did?
We did the Antifa of the time or whoever we were. Remember there was all those
Are you
protests.
saying you?
No, he's saying
you too, Simon.
No, it wasn't
just saying in
me.
general,
Okay,
people.
Gotcha.
Remember there was
I
there
don't,
was
but I'm with you. Okay.
There was a huge
I was young.
protest
Excuse me.
in Toronto where there was kettling. It was G7. or
G7, but that was that George?
the big one was in New York City when it was George Bush.
That was George Senior.
George Sr., New World Order, and he would say New World Order a lot.
Yes.
Just like
Yeah,
all the,
I remember
the
that.
clips you get with the World WEF or whoever it is.
World WEF.
No, but the doom and gloom of this guy existing and he's come and gone. So just from an anecdotal perspective, there's always a bad guy and there's always
Yeah, but I mean,
axis of evil and bad things happen.
but keep in mind, his son came in after, and
Did even worse, yeah.
Are you talking about the one that happened in Canada? The riots?
I think that Harper was our president. I don't know if it was George W. That
Yeah,
one.
because that was 2018.
It started with
Harper. Yeah, that I remember that G whatever summit.
well,
yeah.
that would
G7. G7.
So at one point, Joe is losing it with where Kurt's going. He's all over the place, and James is like, "Yeah, I still got it." So Joe's the odd man out.
Well, Jamie really likes
Kurt.
Kurt, but no, he really likes conspiracy theories. We found this out when Sam was on.
Found this out when Sam was. Yes.
Because apparently they got in a big conversation
Yeah.
before the show about like all the things that Sam wouldn't talk about on the show because they were too crazy, like Hitler being a good guy. Not my quote.
Yeah, not
Don't-
Simon's opinion.
Don't
No farm
don't
boys on
clip
this
that,
one.
farm
Yeah.
boys.
Later, farm boys.
Then there was a bit of a Matrix moment when they were, again, just talking about scientists going out of their lane, or there would be some scientists who are Renaissance people and know a lot about everything, but you got to imagine most of them have just devoted all this time to a specific study that they might have tunnel vision. And then they talked about the origins of money. As we were talking about last week in the post show, I believe. Or
Yeah, and Joe can't understand why gold is became the currency,
well, he has his reasons
which are
that it was pliable.
yeah. And I'm going to take it a step further than that.
Okay.
Dragons
Oh, no.
used to make their bedding out of gold because
okay.
it was a very soft metal.
And
I just think there's some correlation between
oh,
that.
shut up. Just shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Enough.
You see, Matt,
Enough. No, I've had enough.
You are not
No.
a believer. And
I'm
that's
not.
wrong.
Okay? Enough.
In Simon's defense,
No.
Yeah, defend me.
No, do
defend
not.
me. I like this.
Scientology exists.
Now, what does that mean?
It doesn't matter.
Not only does it exist, but it somewhat thrives. But if we
my
see at the root of what it is, like it's pretty. Like what if there's so many religions and Scientology is the closest to?
Well,
the most spot on. I
it
mean,
really is an alien religion.
yes.
Like you think of alien religion and you think of Raelians. You know that religion where
I
they
hate
all.
you. I couldn't hate you more. Raelians.
I think that's what it is.
Would you name your dragon? Dragon.
Hey, listen, I think that's what it is. I could be wrong, but I'll look it up in a sec. They believe that like they're going to fly away in a UFO. Scientology believes that, you're going to get to that certain level and then all your thetans fucking fly out into space or whatever the fuck. Like,
I think that's it.
I think I'll have to bring part of what I had in the GAD side. There are universal themes that are mapped on the evolutionary scaffolding.
let's reset that.
On the evolutionary scaffolding.
Scaffolding wasn't written down.
Oh, you had to freewheel that?
Just thinking.
Jesus, man, that's pretty good. That's pretty fucking good.
Yes, and scaffolding.
Because that sounded very Chad GPT like.
Well, that's what it really means. But I mean, in layman's terms, sort of there's.
He just layman termed us.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
There's nothing more
I see what he did
insulting
there.
than being layman turned by such a fucking dumb ape.
He's got a sweet earring, though, and look at those nails. Okay, Kamar, what else you got, pal?
The universal themes.
Oh my god. This fucking guy.
Okay, so there's similarities in all religions,
Yes.
Yeah.
and they
Can you sit this way?
No, he's good. Let him
they
cook.
map onto evolutionary indicators, biological, and there's some truths in every single religion. Say the whole thing can be bullshit, but one thing is like, if this is
So if you
Truth
think there's,
happen.
oh, I get it. So you're like, if there's a God, he gave each religion one truth, and they got to piece it together.
that's even better than I was thinking. But just saying,
That's interesting, actually.
or the example is just Scientology is actually the closest. They all are.
Yeah, I'm not living on that. Okay.
It's not. I don't believe in any of them, but we live in a world
Yeah.
where it is thought of.
Yeah.
It owns property, like so. Bigfoot's possible. That's all I was trying to say.
No, but it is really like we don't believe in these new religions because they're too new. You know what I mean? Like we don't like
Yeah.
and I'm just saying we
No,
as
you're
like
right.
the collective people don't like Mormonism
Yeah.
because John
John
Smith was only 100 years ago and not
Yeah.
4,000
He
years
had like
ago.
a bank account.
Like he wore a business suit, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Like in the stained glass, he's
That's it.
wearing a business suit. But it's just the same. You know what I mean? In another, bear with me, in another 2,000 years,
Yeah.
Scientology will just be Catholicism because it'll be that long that people will look back on it with reverence. If it survives, Scientology probably won't. Get the fuck back over there. Scientology probably won't, Maddie, because you can already see it fizzling out. Like they did something wrong that like they're just not getting the staying power, it seems. But who knows? Maybe it will have a resurgence. Like if aliens come here, all of a sudden Scientology makes a fuckload of sense.
It makes a little more sense, yeah.
It makes a lot more sense. And the Raelians, don't get me started. These guys are going to be kings.
These guys are going to be kings.
I'm going to look at what they're actually called.
The gods amongst men. Come on, what else you got? Palo.
Did you go to kindergarten?
Yep.
Because according to Kurt Metzger, that's where they begin the programming. You can go in grade 1 and you might be a bit of ahead of the brainwashing.
No, they already got me. It's too late. I've already been brainwashed. Like you.
It is suspect when
Raelians.
I believe you.
Suck
Listen.
a big alien dick.
people in power are telling you not to do your own research. They're saying, do your own research, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
That's really...
Yeah, we do the research for you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it really feels like they're gaslighting us.
At least
and,
gaslighting.
and I don't know, they said something in one of these episodes that gave me an idea. I think it was Joe.
Okay.
But there's gaslighting. But now as like everything's changing, again, it's flipping back. There should be pumping gas, which is the opposite of gaslighting, which is like...
I got you. I'm with you.
Telling the truth and agreeing, pumping that, like you're pumping them up, you're pumping gas. So we're gonna
pump them up.
We're gonna trademark that.
You're
right here
hilarious.
on the show.
Pumping them up. We're pumping them up.
Fill her up. They talked about Trump's coin, which is an interesting idea that it could either make him or bake him.
Okay, now just bear with me here.
Okay.
I'm not hating on Trump here, but that's not a good look, right? When you're
he hasn't pulled the rug
president
yet.
of the hold on.
You understand what I'm saying, though, right, Matt?
There shouldn't be a Trump coin. If he's running for president, he could probably do not do that. It's not going to be a good look either way. And
I probably agree with you.
Selling the watches and selling, like, he's just hurting his own to what? Make a quick buck? Like, he's going to make enough money now that he's president. I know not in salary, but like he's going to do enough favors for enough people that I think Trump's going to walk away fine at the end of 4 years.
Well, I mean, you're probably right, but he could use that money to build a library or a school or a hospital in his name, whatever. I just think it sort of holds him accountable. If he does do a rug pull or whatever, it sort of would taint his reputation, ruin him.
But you don't think it just kind of taints it anyways by even having, like, what president has ever had a fucking, like, who does this? No other president has been hawking their own t-shirts.
You are such a pearl clutcher. That's what.
Pearl clutcher.
Oh my goodness, he can't do that.
No, it's not pearl clutching at all. It's more like a sack grabber, because I'm just like,
Simon, are you clutching at your pearls?
this is coming from the guy who has a fucking pearl earring. Yes, I am. I
can't believe what is in his ear.
God, Kamar's gonna show up.
By the way,
you see, he's gaslighting.
No,
Yeah.
I'm gas pumping.
This is gaslighting.
I'm pumping your gas.
This is the opposite of pumping gas.
I'm pumping your gas, man.
I'm pumping your gas, man.
People do want you to sing more, man. So if you just hum in the corner there. Now we can look back and stuff. It is such bullshit. Eminem endorsing Kamala Harris. That is the upside down. Like, A, he shouldn't be involved at all.
So
And
then
B,
Joe Rogan shouldn't be involved
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. But B, he should do it because he really believes Kamala Harris is the best person, not for $1
But
million.
you don't know that he didn't. Hold on.
Maybe he did believe that.
If he believes in her and still gets paid, do you have
He's
a
a
problem
fucking
with that?
retard. Yes. No,
Why?
I don't have a problem. He
so
can do
he
whatever he
should
wants.
he should do it for free, like Joe does.
Yes.
But
yes.
Joe didn't do it for free. Joe made an immense amount of money having Donald Trump.
I don't
on.
know if you can tell when I'm being sarcastic.
I can't.
Well, if you guys want to defend Kamala and Eminem,
No, I'm not.
What I think
Kamar.
also-
See what he
I
does?
just
What a
don't
cute
think
thing.
it's any different than what goes on the other side.
and answered.
Gas lighting.
You know why she's full of shit though? Is she's nowhere now.
Nowhere now. Yeah.
She's not on the news telling everyone why Donald Trump doing these tariffs is a bad idea or how poorly handled
Kamala?
the plane crash. Kamala, yes.
Yeah, Kamala.
She's not like the leader of the opposition. She's done.
That's
obviously,
not
with that.
usually how it happens, though. In the
Yes, it is.
in the States, Kay.
In the States, when Biden won, Trump wouldn't shut up and had to keep going. She just went away. She didn't go to Speaker of the House or anything. She's done.
No, but I'm saying I'm just bear with me. Dan
I'm bearing.
Quayle runs, not Dan Quayle. The fucking
Inconvenient
Al
truth.
Gore.
Al Gore.
thank Al Gore.
We're
Thank
about to
you.
get there. Glad you brought it up.
He runs
Yeah.
and then disappear. You don't hear from him again. Like that just happens. It seems in U.S. Like unless they're planning on running again,
Like Joe Biden.
they just disappear. Like what else are they gonna do?
Joe Biden ran for president.
Yeah, that's why he was
No,
always
like 20
planning on
years
having
ago.
a job in government.
And
And maybe
lost.
she's just waiting. She's obviously can't get a job with Trump.
If we know,
But
anything
she'll
about
wait until the
politics,
next-
You got to keep the news cycle.
Democrat gets in and then
Yeah, maybe.
jump into she'll be fucking Secretary of State or something.
The old Secretary of State.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Reading the CIA manual about sabotage. Guess you forgot that part. But
No, I remember, yeah.
who's our man, Andrew Spumante?
Oh, Chris
Or-
Bustamante.
Chris Bustamante.
It's not Chris, but it's something. Steve Bustamante.
Okay.
But it basically is what his thing is.
Yeah.
These people, you could probably say Mike Baker as well if you want to.
The bike maker.
I love when Joe defends
The bike maker.
Yeah, Mike Baker. And he's
Because-
just like, listen, he's my friend, and I know he probably still works for the CIA.
every
time-
Wink,
what are we doing
wink,
here?
Nudge,
Because every
nudge,
time his name comes up, an electric shock goes in his chair. It's like, oh, yeah.
into his testicles.
So conspiracy theory was invented by the CIA, which is really, really funny.
Well, yeah, they can't have people talking ill of them.
Tinfoil hat.
Well,
Wasn't
no,
that
tinfoil
it?
hat
That
was
something
caused by
different?
an operation they did where they put
where they
a
convinced the
rusty
guy he
old
was
computer
crazy.
chip in his head. He might as well have hammered himself in the head.
Yeah, no, the best part of this episode was when Joe was like, yeah, maybe they should make a law that says you can't test on your own people.
Yeah.
Like, where's that fucking law?
Well, it was.
Yeah, that should be law number one.
Yeah.
That you have this whole bill of independence or whatever, and at no point do you state clearly that that's illegal.
Yeah, it's
that
weird.
should make sure. Anyways,
Well,
Well, no, but they've clearly had a long history of doing it, so I don't think they're going to stop now. But you're right; it should be.
no, but it was so bad back. I mean, maybe it's that bad now, and we just don't know about it. Like the fluoride thing has been this 45, 50, 60. I don't know how many years they've been putting fluoride in our water, but
a long time.
we're probably just the guinea pigs for something they're going to find out about 200 years from now.
I got to be real. I'm half retarded anyway. Fluoride up my water.
Yeah, I think it's probably more like nefarious than that. Like, in order for you to become dumb enough to, navigate in a direction to buy something, like it's really, I don't know. It all just seems very commercial.
Seems very commercial. Come on, what else you got?
well, the through line for Kurt was that this is an indisputable receipt list of things the CIA has done, and there's no indication, but there's just an assumption. Well, they learned the error of their ways; they don't do stuff like this anymore.
I mean, listen, if they actually tried to assassinate Castro 600 times, where did they learn the error of their ways?
Joe's advice.
That doesn't sound like the same people to me who wrote a hit song that brought down the Berlin Wall, Matt. Like,
Everyone else misses.
Just saying.
no, but it's like they're really good at doing these crazy fucking ops.
Yeah, but killing someone,
But
they're just like, we
it's
can't
the most
get this
simplest
done.
of simple things. Like,
Joe's advice is to not go into debt.
Yeah,
I love when he gives us that practical advice, eh?
But if you think about it, that's sort of where people can get compromised. If maybe it's a gambling debt, maybe then you have pressure because they were talking a lot about honeypotting. If you get video of them doing something like that,
Yeah.
could be another way. So yeah, that's another reason not to get in debt. Then Al Gore, there should be a moratorium or it's a consortium or a thing to look into. This movie was 100%
There should be a moratorium.
not true.
What?
All
movie.
his predictions, and here's how you could angle it: like Joy, all the stuff you've done, and obviously it wouldn't be a good thing because it'd be keep going with your climate change stuff.
Let me ask you, if he's right in 25 years, if he's right, that's not good enough for you?
No,
Why is that?
because it's not going to happen. But yeah, I mean, hypothetically, sure, you got me, but I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't.
You
I
know
think
what?
the whole thing is made up, and it was fear, and made him $1 billion, and who knows, countless. It made Elon.
I totally agree with Kamar on this one because I think that all of that shit, that whole movie, everything that was going on there about the climate and the shift, that is like the unattainable goal that will allow them to funnel billions of taxpayer dollars into it for the rest of time. And at the same time, so they're taking the money from the taxpayer and then also all these companies get involved. So they make a ton of money on the way. Meanwhile, the real problem, which is like the documentaries you see where they show you fucking Garbage Island and the mass amounts of garbage that wash up on the beaches of these remote islands or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? Like that's the shit we are doing that they could fix,
Yeah,
but
I'm
they
never
don't
saying
want to
pollution's not a
fix
thing.
because there's an end to it.
Okay, but
and
again-
then they can't make the
again-
money they want to make because they're gonna solve it if they try.
Okay, well, again, if 25 years from now Miami's underwater, under 3 feet of water, do you at least give Al Gore half a check mark?
I'll eat crow.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's tough to like.
Yeah,
it's
but
like,
why
just
is
hear
it
me out. Just hear me out.
underwater?
It's like the weather. Well, because we're melting the ice caps. And again, you could argue like Kamar. You could argue like Kamar that just happens naturally.
This
That
is what I mean.
sometimes, yeah.
And we should be
But you just
thanking
argue-
our
but
lucky
hold on,
stars
hold on,
that
hold
it's
on. Wait,
melting and not
wait.
freezing over.
But you're doing this weird thing where you're like, there's this thing called Garbage Island, and we should be concentrating on the thing. So like, there is a chance that us polluting the shit out of the ocean and throwing garbage in it is
if
having
it's heating up the ocean, yeah, sure. Then I believe in the melting of the ice caps.
Like I would imagine that having a, when they're trying to like, I don't know what they're doing it for, but you've probably seen it where they put like 1,000 of those black balls in a reservoir.
Yeah.
Like if you had that same effect in the ocean where there's like a garbage patch, dark, the size of Texas, like I imagine that would warm the ocean a little bit. No?
Yeah, maybe.
I'm
Or
just saying.
maybe the ocean's just warm because of the lava.
Sure. Yeah, it could be lava.
And the alien ships flying through it.
Yeah, that's crazy. We forgot to talk about that during the alien guy. The fucking
Well, I don't know if we forgot about talking about it. We talked about it prior. We talked about it. We
no,
talked
but
about it
the underwater
Beside-
civilization.
beside the oil tanker. Lastly, pardons. Accepting a pardon is seen by the Supreme Court as a
Admission of guilt.
mission of guilt.
Is that true?
Yeah, and also
Well, that makes sense.
what we did
Does
skip
it?
is talking about the fires. 90% of fires are caused by man-made.
Really? That's
Yeah.
very interesting.
I feel like
You're telling me that 10% of forest fires? Now, is that all fires?
Yeah,
Okay, well, that's a weird stat then,
it is.
because all fires is different. If you
A
had
lot
just
of fires are caused by people. Cigarette butts,
yeah,
cinders
but
at a
hold on.
campsite.
forest fires is probably what we're looking for more specifically.
because a lot of house fires are caused by people.
That's my point.
All fires. 90% of fires. 90% of fires.
well, yeah,
There's 10% of fires that start from
I mean-
lightning from, I think that's about,
Yeah,
maybe
but
No,
of
but what-
forest fires,
what I'm
how
saying,
many
though-
start from people and how many start
90%
from
of forest fires start by
Okay,
human
but those are
beings.
two different stats.
No, it's-
so it's 90 and 90 both times.
Yeah.
That's
No, you
a
didn't look up the other
coincidence.
one.
That's a fucking weird
Same thing.
coincidence.
It was the chief of the LAPD.
This fucking guy.
of the cops.
LAFD?
Most fires are started by
The
people.
cops. Yeah, the cops came out and they were like, yeah, just so you know.
It's tough.
This isn't how you win an argument.
Oh, he's winning.
You know, Kurt was just on Eddie Bravo, And one of the things I forgot to mention is that thanks for listening.
Eddie Bravo has a podcast.
No, Kurt was just on. Sorry, Sam Chipley's podcast.
Okay.
Same talking points. But remember last time Kurt was on with Owen Benjamin, and it was
No, that was like 3 ago.
well, whatever.
But yes.
That
He
was
was
a lot.
on with Owen Benjamin.
Yeah, it was
On
Owen
Joe
Benjamin's.
Rogan?
It was
Yeah, it was Owen Benjamin's
it was
last time, I
A
think.
horrible listen.
Oh, that was
Kurt-
that was a
it
long time ago.
I didn't say last.
This
episode,
was
it just like,
before
wow.
he went crazy, or
Yes,
this is
before
right
he
when
went moved to the
No,
woods,
this
yeah.
is they try to convince you, but yeah, agree.
In any event, Jimmy Dore is working with Kurt, and he brings out the best of him. Kurt's a really funny guy. I give this a 3.5.
I give it a 3.5. I like that.
Yeah, I will go 3.5. Let's
We have an agreement.
let's agree to 3.5.
All right, let's wrap this fucking bad boy up. Just for listeners, we had like a nightmare of a technical issue before we started.
Who's the
Took up
last
forever.
one? Oh,
Gad Sad.
the sad
father.
saddest gad around.
Father of two.
Just
over here.
seeking approval, old God Sad is. Yeah, just God Sad. Did I introduce this to you? 2263 God Sad.
Did I introduce this to you?
Look at me, of all the things. A Lebanese Jew from Montreal teaches you about Alvin Kamara.
Joe, do you know who Alvin? Joe, do you know who Alvin Kamara is?
That
You've
is
never
the
heard of him.
only fucking football player that guy knows.
I don't know. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I didn't think you even thought he knew who Alvin Kamara was.
I feel like he looked up some guy to be able to tell a story.
No, remember he said he had Superman on his show,
Oh, okay.
and Superman brought it up.
Said he loved Alvin Kamara, and he
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, Alvin Kamara, I'm gonna note that, and then I'm gonna tell a story on Rogan."
Oh, I'll put this in the Rogan notes.
I don't want to be that guy that badmouths God Sad, but like Joe, I was in early talks to have Trump on my podcast because I really thought it would be groundbreaking stuff, and we couldn't close the deal, but you beat me to it. Just fair is fair, game recognizes game. Every time Gad does a project or something, it's a beautiful, like whether they print it or not, it was amazing.
That's like me going on Rogan,
Yeah.
and saying, "Hey, Joe, you got the space pimp Bob Lazar. I wanted him on my little fucking basement podcast, but you beat me to it."
That's 100%.
19 million reach must be nice, huh?
Fuck, this guy's delusional. It's insane.
But
He reminds me somehow, I'm sorry, Kamar, just to interject. He reminds me somehow, like I just get the same vibe from him as I do from that other guy who went on Rogan there with all the presents because he was trying to convince
Patrick
him
Bet
to-
David.
Patrick Bet David. These guys are like the equivalents of each other. Just in vibe. The way they brown nose Joe, the like, we're buddies, right?
I feel like Gad
He's
is a
the
little
little
more self-importance,
dog.
but it's probably pretty close.
The little dog just jumping. We're friends, right, Spike? Right? You know? And he jumps up. The
That's
bulldog.
ironic coming from someone who has a podcast called the Joe Rogan Experience.
What is ironic?
Where you're like, these guys are fucking lapdogs, just jumping up, jumping at the teat. Like, oh, Joe. We have a podcast called the Joe. Like, do you have no self-awareness whatsoever
No,
here?
but you know, I've stated many times that I thought we should change our name.
What was this?
I was just.
That was you slapping me?
I was,
Yeah, across the face twice.
I mean,
Wake up!
I was citing him with decorum.
Wake up, you idiot!
Oh, that's incredible. I'm using that
Do
from
it.
now on.
And
Yeah.
it doesn't hurt me as much as if you hit me.
No, I listen. If you listen to this podcast, you'll know that I disagree with Joe more than I agree with Joe.
Yeah.
So
Gad Sad is on.
Got it ready. He's got it ready.
and
he's threatening me with his painted nails.
an anti-woke
What does this
re-education
world come
campaign.
to?
I love the thought of Gad Sad sitting in a classroom with like 15 pink-haired bays.
Calling them all retarded.
Yeah. Where he's like, okay, today.
You're gay. You're gay. You're gay. You're retarded. You're gay. Clip it, farm boys.
He does this all.
Yeah. Just
But-
slapping people with gloves. You're not trans anymore.
It would appear we're coming.
$20,000.
It would appear we're coming out of the trance of trans
Joe, TRANCE, great work of great verbal work there.
That's not his accent.
Close
at
enough.
all.
Close enough.
At all.
Close enough.
No.
Kamar agrees.
No,
Close
that's
enough.
not
Close
It's
enough.
got to be a little more
That
Jewish.
drifted way too far to Hezbollah.
Gotta be a little
sorry,
more
okay.
Jewish.
Okay.
Joe, guess what? Oh man. Okay, sorry.
Go ahead, Kumar.
Weirdest
Keep on with your
dead
notes.
silence.
Well,
ever.
you know,
What was I
make fun of
trying to
Jews and-
start talking about?
What were you trying to start talking about?
There's no way this is how you're taking notes. Is that what your note says? What was I trying to start talking
No,
about?
I was saying something and then you guys had to talk over it, and I
And
lost
then you
my
had to talk over.
universal themes mapped on an
You had to have a
evolutionary design.
conversation.
Some of your notes are so incredibly useless. It pains me. Say
Well,
that
no.
one again. Say that one again out loud.
Which one?
Say that one again out loud. The one you just read.
Okay. Universal themes mapped on evolutionary design.
Like, what the fuck are we supposed to do with that?
What
We're
does
three
that-
morons.
what
Say it
does
again.
that even
Say it
mean?
again. Say it again out loud.
What does that even mean?
I want to hear.
I see it. The trance of trance.
Yeah. Oh, he wanted to get this stupid joke in.
So
The
Trump
trans.
has just announced that if you don't take your pronouns off your bio, you're fired. Like,
He can't do that.
Yeah, what
can't
happened
tell
to
him
freedom
that.
of speech?
What happened to companies being able to do whatever the fuck they
no,
wanted?
if you work
government
for the
employees.
government.
Oh, for the government. I'm sorry. I'm
But
sorry.
all the
he
other
can do that.
All the other
Why-
companies are
hold on.
following suit.
It's still free speech. I don't get it. If you want to say my pronouns are he, him, what the fuck right does anyone have to tell you not to say that?
Yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't matter. That's another argument, but there's
Yeah,
a full.
fucks free speech when it comes to Trump. We'll do what we
He goes,
want.
That's another argument. That was what he
It's
said.
a full-on de-wokification.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
And I remember when Lex had the Argentinian president on.
Yeah.
He was talking about how do you enact change, and he said you rip off bandages, and I think that's sort of what we're seeing. Because what some people say is Trump goes as crazy as he can,
He was talking about beheading every gang member, by the way.
because when you push him back, he's going to land more than if he tried to negotiate a traditional. I want this. Well, if I give you this, and I mean, hey, hold me to the fire. If all this blows up and Trump ruins the world, then I was wrong.
I did think it was kind of funny how he was like 25% tariffs on everything. And then his oil buddies came to him and he was like, oh, sorry, not oil. Not that one.
What do you mean? Did he say not oil? I thought oil
10%.
was part of
Down
it.
to
No,
10%.
he said down to 10% on that one.
But like I said, the guys that were on the news today, the oil guys were like, I don't want you to tariff him, but I also don't want you to say things go back, like make a deal.
I like what apparently the
Kamar, hold on though. Can I ask you a
Alberta premier.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No.
The Alberta premier came to meet with Trump
She's
in
pissed
Mar-a-Lago.
because she thought she would have avoided the tariffs.
Well, no, I'm just saying. She said we're married to the United States. We're not dating. We're married. Like this is.
Well, no, Quebec could
We
shut
fight
off the
sometimes.
electricity to
No,
New York.
th-
Yeah, but
This
they
is-
don't.
This
Then
is
we won't because we're better people.
No, because it's
They-
a marriage. That's his point. That's what the point
Yeah,
Simon's making is
and
we
she
don't
said
turn it off.
We fight sometimes, and then we work it out.
Well,
You
this
know
guy
what I
said
mean?
Canada,
This is stupid.
Canada's current trade deal that we're out of now, we were benefiting more than America was.
Okay, but can I ask you a question?
I hear a lot of differing views
Yeah,
on that.
Can I ask you a question though? They signed the deal. No one put a gun to the
Yeah,
U.S.
and Trump has come and
No, I
he
know.
wants to
I know.
change the deal.
Just hear me out. Okay. Why would you make a deal with someone who's so willing to change the deal once it no longer benefits them?
Historically, the deal has changed and come back. Another thing they were saying is even though that deal is bad, there's worse deals between provinces.
Yes, you've mentioned this. We know this. I don't care.
So, like I said, I think Trump is trying to get a bunch of cash fast. And so he's going to tariff all these countries for a couple months and amass a bunch of money and lift them.
That's not
I
how
don't
that
think
works.
he won't lift them. Why would he do that?
And I think that he is.
Well, there's sanctions. We're in a
This
trade
is
war.
a business ploy, and he's like making a huge deal about it. So when they do go to the table, it'll give him a hand in the situation. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, first off, if he successfully eliminates income tax, I know he can't run again, but like, that's a pretty big. I don't know.
Well, I didn't even know he was doing that.
Yeah, that's his
Maybe
plan.
it's like this.
What-
Like
Okay, sorry.
he's just going swing for crazy, and no one's ever seen a president
Kamar, first off,
try to be this active, and we're gonna have to wait for the dust to settle.
yeah, Kamar, I haven't shit on him. I haven't. He's barely been in like.
But
I'm going to wait
he's-
2 years.
He's angering a lot of people.
I get it, and who cares? He angered people the first time he was in, did he not?
And
This
look,
guy is the worst.
Yes,
maybe
he
he
did.
just thinks, look, I only have 4 years. I have to do everything at light
Well,
speed.
and one thing we know, no matter what he does, he has Gad Saad's undying support and would like him to take over
The
country.
world.
Yeah. Well, Canada.
I think they want him to be supreme leader.
Can I ask you a question though?
we can't be 51st state because that's Israel.
If that's true, if
52 maybe.
if a Democrat gets elected in 4 years and they undo all of this, like, is it not just a huge burden to only the taxpayers?
Only the people.
But if
Yeah.
what he does is just uber successful and we all thrive, then that's a
Well, we
doesn't
won't. We don't
matter.
live there.
Well, who
And,
knows what's
and
gonna
this
happen.
isn't a plan that's going to have people thriving in the next 4 years or like it takes a long time to build that type of infrastructure. And like I was saying, even if they build all the factories here to make all the things you don't want to import from somewhere else, the price is going to go way up
Well, do you
because
feel-
you have to pay your workers properly and you're under laws that they're not under there, which is why you have the shit made there in the first place.
Other than teachers, firefighters, and policemen, they pay their people more than we pay our people. America to Canada, just in a straight up comparison.
What does that have to do with it?
That's just what you say. You have to pay people.
Well, no, I'm talking about the difference between North America and China.
We're talking about Canada and the United States.
No, what? No,
He was talking about U.S. and China. Simon,
like the stuff that they have, everything that we buy from that we get from somewhere else.
Have you ever had a moment where you're like, why Canada shouldn't be in this position so dependent? Or it's just this is the only way it could happen? Like, why doesn't Norway have these problems?
well, first of all, we don't know what problems Norway does or doesn't have. We don't live there. We don't get their news.
And
so
what
we don't.
problems? What problems are you talking about?
Well, I'm not panicked about it, neither are you guys. But if you turn on the news, Canadian reporters are like, what are we going to do? I mean,
Are
maybe
you
it's-
talking about the tariffs? Though?
Yes, this is like the worst thing that could happen to Canada.
No, I know it's not good, but
I mean, hold on. Like, come on.
Have we put our country in a position by this? Had we made a bunch of pipelines so we could pump oil to other countries in the United States over the last 10 years?
we are married to the United States.
Okay.
But even I guess my question to you is like, what does the pipeline solve? Just out of curiosity.
To sell our fossil fuels to other.
But we already sell them.
Well, they're
don't we?
being refined in the United States. That's
No,
what's going on.
Most of our oil we sell to America. It's not easy.
Yeah,
to get
already, that's what I'm
oil
saying.
to-
90% of it or something.
We can't.
I know.
sell
I'm
like
saying,
to
but we
Vancouver
already do
or-
that. Is my point.
This is what I mean.
So I'm asking what the change. What
We
what,
have more oil we could have. The Liberals shut down a bunch of oil
Okay.
production.
Okay.
I'm lost.
No, like Kamar, here's my thing: is the news is freaking out because it's already, and again, this is a government problem. It's already so expensive to live in this country, and so if overnight it becomes 25% more expensive to live in this country, I imagine the homeless rate.
Well, that would be tariffs that our government puts on America, though, that would cause that to happen to us.
Well, this is what I
Like
say.
right now, it's only going to affect the fucking. It's
Stuff
the
we ship
rich that
there.
are
I get
getting
it.
affected. But I guess that trickles down to the people who work for the gas companies, and it's the little guy who's going to get fucked in the end. This is what I'm saying. This isn't helping anybody. Either country in this kind of trade war is only hurting the little
Like
guy.
I said, it stinks of the scamdemic, and I'll be interested to see where we are in a month.
So what does that mean, though, Kamar? Do you think that is that like pro-Trump or anti-Trump? I don't get it.
It's give whatever he's doing a chance. But I can't see him doing anything in the best interest of our country, so then it's not good. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
He's
see
not doing this going, trust me, we're going to make $1 trillion and then we'll be able to help you Canada more. All I know is I don't want these tariffs to affect any of our undying support for Ukraine. that will not be off the table.
I don't get it. I don't get how Trump thinks he's helping.
Well, if everyone says it's true, he's going to find out. The stock market's about to crash on Monday. car companies are going to say we can't make money. Like,
Simon, it's very simple. He looks at it like this. Everyone in the world, their goal is to sell product in the US. You've run a company, you know that the main goal is if you can break into that market, you've raised your ceiling exponentially, correct?
Okay.
So Donald Trump's whole thing is you want to do business in this country and you're not from this country. We're charging you 25%. We owe all this money because we've been keeping everyone safe for, I guess, the better part of 30 years. And the reason that your country hasn't been invaded by some shithead is because we have a base there. And our bases cost $1 billion a month, and we want that fucking money back in perpetuity. That's what he's saying.
He almost has it right, except the military-industrial complex has been running that country that way for however long. That's not the people's fault. You know what I mean? Like,
but he's not hurting their people. Donald Trump isn't hurting American people by implementing this tax. In fact, he said, I'm going to get rid of income tax. So that would help every single American. Every American that works a job benefits from that.
These tariffs are going to hurt his people.
Things that come from other countries will be 25% more expensive. You are correct.
Which is everything.
I'm basing my...
Which
Well, no,
is
but he didn't do it to China.
And
He didn't do it to China.
He did 10%.
10%, but that's a huge difference. You see the difference
this is
there?
so fucked
No,
up.
I think
What
it is because China is so much more. That's still... But what I'm trying to say...
That's okay. Listen, this
is
is
all the
fucking
people
mental.
that are telling me all the bad things about this
Yeah.
are the same people who told me how
get
important
it.
it was to get vaccinated.
I get
and
it.
how effective the governments are doing. So I want to wait and see because it just reveals that.
Kamar, you're doing a different thing this time. You've mentioned multiple times. It's not us saying this.
Yeah.
And I just want you to know, Donald Trump, you just said it, he actually wants you to hurt
He didn't
as
say
a
that.
Canadian.
He said he loves Canada.
No,
No, this is what he said.
I'm just telling
He said
you.
he loves Canada.
Well, his
he has
actions,
lots of friends in Canada, but they've been getting too good a deal.
His
Kamar,
actions
and that may be true.
Simon,
are saying something different.
how can he hate us if he wants us to be a state?
And for sure, Simon, you do agree.
I'm just
He's
curious.
been saying since he was president, I want you to pay 2% of GDP as you agree, and we haven't. So now I say he's holding us upside down like a bully at school, shaking the change in her pocket to get that.
It's so fun. You have what's that
and just
syndrome
like you said,
where the
that's a
person's
deal.
taken
No, there's a deal we agreed to.
Stockholm.
syndrome. This guy is fucking you up the ass,
No.
and you're like, no, I like it. I like being
You're
fucked up the
you're
ass. We're dating.
You're adamant that we stick to the deals of the trade. We made a deal for trade. We made a deal with NATO. We're not sticking up that deal, but that's different.
Well, then go to the bargaining table, like
That's what I
normal
said. Let's
fucking
move on.
people
You
do.
come back to me every fucking
Why
time.
is there all these fucking threats?
Get your own thoughts.
This motherfucker.
So this came out this week. DeepSeek.
Yeah.
So crazy that Nvidia lost $500 billion. One guy came on.
that happened. So
and
their
said,
stock took a plunge.
Oh yeah.
DeepSeek is the equivalent of someone coming out with a $20 iPhone. Imagine what that would do to Apple stock.
That's what. So what is DeepSeek?
Well, they don't know because,
It's AI with like less computing power.
but no,
But cheaper.
No,
If I
it-
can make it as
it's
in layman's
it's
terms.
AI that chooses when to use the computing power. But
It's like a hybrid car.
well, what they're saying is, say, OpenAI, ChatGPT costs $100 billion. This DeepSeek costs $5 million. One guy was saying they built, they're called agents. ChatGPT's an agent, DeepSeek's an agent, Gemini's an agent. This is the term they use now.
Interesting.
But they were building an agent, and they think they just had it prompt the shit out of ChatGPT to teach me everything you know. That could have been one thing. But they're saying they got this done for $5 million. Or they're lying, and the Chinese government gave them billions of dollars.
DeepSeek is just the bully of the schoolyard. He's like, give me your lunch money. Give me your homework.
Yeah. What did you learn last
These
night?
machines don't know what you're
nerd?
doing.
Yeah.
But what's interesting with DeepSeek is it's free. So I said to Matt, some guy somewhere is gonna
How is it free? Nothing's free.
well, your data. ChatGPT, you got to pay a monthly subscription to use.
Oh, you
this
do?
you don't.
Well, there's a free. Hold on. There is a free
A
Chat
limited.
GPT. Yeah. Like I use the free version. I don't use it that
What
much.
would you need the paid version
Just
for?
the full complement of everything it does.
like Simon.
Like it-
Images, whatever.
No, but Simon, just as an example. No, that's a good example. Like all those AI imaging things you see online, those all cost money.
the picture ones?
Yeah. There's what they'll do is they'll be like, we'll give you 10 free images per month, and you'll use those prompts just sitting there in the first 5 seconds playing with it.
Funny that I downloaded a AI video generator,
Yeah.
and a really simple video would cost about $350 because you set up the prompts, it writes the script, it sets us all up. It says for like this video, it's going to take this many tokens. Like the computing power, I don't even know how they calculate it, but anyways, cost gets into it. Where DeepSeek there is no cost, but there is a function on it where it makes it longer. But when you prompt it to do something, it first shows you its complete reasoning on how it's getting what it's going to tell you, and it's just fascinating. And it's a complete disruptor to the industry that was going gangbusters, and they called it a Sputnik moment.
It almost shows you the concern you should have with the stock market moving forward.
Well, it's for gambling.
What is?
The stock market?
Why?
No.
Why?
It is not.
What is
There
that?
is a section of the stock market that is definitely for gambling, but most people that invest in the stock market do it long
It's for
term and
gambling,
very
but
safe
it's
things.
the only safe place to put your money.
But
'Cause if you
why-
just put your money in a bank, you're losing money.
Why does this Nvidia thing?
because okay, so
correlation?
there
Can change so
you
fast.
you could argue that someone who was heavily invested in Blockbuster could have seen the writing on the wall and could have gotten out, and they could have, right? Because there's more than enough time to watch that thing go down and just see there's going to be something else.
Okay.
My point is the disruptors now are so quick and fast that like Kamar's saying, if tomorrow some company comes out and they're like, hey, guess what? We've created the iPhone, but it's $20. Yeah, that Apple stock is going to fucking plummet so fast.
I
So
see.
what I'm saying is the blue chip stocks that the retirement funds are invested in, it's very dangerous for those things to see a huge dip overnight because, again, you're talking about millions of teachers' retirements or government workers' retirements or whatever the fuck it may be. And if you see those go to zero overnight, you have a big fucking
Yeah.
problem. And it used to be that those things couldn't go to zero overnight because they were, you know what I mean? Like, let's say a blue chip stock did go to zero. It took 10 years for it to happen from like the pinnacle moment where it's like this was their downfall. You had 10 years for that retirement fund to divest, right? To divest.
Okay.
Now you might have like, they just don't have time. Now it's like it
Right.
happened overnight. The Amazon, you know what I mean? Oh, guess what? There's a new Amazon that came out, and now Amazon stock is worth overnight. It's worth half of what it was.
At least it's a disruptor. Like they made a product that was better and it fucked the product that existed. Like
But-
that's just hold on. That seems to me like something that's gonna happen. When the stock market always was like, you can't go to crypto because there's no regulation. And then the FTX thing happens and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, the GameStop thing is really the thing that should have showed us that the whole system is rigged because that they didn't make a new product that fucking they just shut the system off when they were going to lose.
Yes.
That's the fucking crookedness. Like that's where the system breaks. That's why
Yes.
nobody should be in the stock market after that because that could happen to anybody at any time. Apparently, if they're going to lose, they just shut the system off.
Well, yes and no, because again, if you're one of these retirement funds, you don't have to worry about them shutting off
That's
whatever it is that
different,
you're
yeah.
invested in.
Yeah.
You're talking about like meme stocks and weird fucking.
Fine, there was a lot of money.
There was
Well,
a.
you know.
Yep, I sure did.
You fucking know, man.
Yes, Simon, I do. Yes.
Anyways, but isn't that funny? Like they scare the new one into nobody can use it because it's the Wild West. When meanwhile, they're fucking in the Wild West.
No, it's the Old West that they control.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So they're calling this a Sputnik moment
Yeah. Why, Kamar?
because when Russia's launched Sputnik, that lit a fire under America, and you got your landing on the moon.
Yeah. And then it just stopped. They won.
Well,
they planted the flag.
That's an interesting
it.
end of the analogy, but in theory, OpenAI, Microsoft, something they're like, in 6 months we'll throw this lever to do this, might be like in 6 days we're doing it. The race is on. Like it's China may have showed their hand, or they may. I can't believe that they have AI that said, "Show me," even though this is the AI system they're using. it may deep seek to show this how far we've gotten or whatever.
Like, I'm surprised they haven't just weaponized their AIs yet amongst themselves. So, like, the main one there,
ChatGPT.
yeah, just fucking is so much stronger than this Seek thing, and it just like goes in and destroys it from the inside, you know?
But I will say
through the cyber web or whatever.
It-
You know
You
what I'm
sound
talking
old.
about?
the only thing AI should be thrown at is like cancer disease
Yeah, I can agree with that.
territory right now. Like that is the proof of concept that I'm looking for to any other thing that answers your emails like that. The only focus should be is for that.
Hold on, I don't mind that it punching up your emails.
Well, no, but it can do everything. But the sole focus it should be, I think, should be focused on cancer.
Well, there definitely should, like, look, if they're have an AI that's so smart that it's going to other dimensions to draw information,
which doesn't even make sense. But
like
okay,
you
yeah.
would think that they would be using that to solve the little things here on Earth, the cancers, the
Hunger, anything, yeah.
whatever,
As a priority.
the little problems, you
Yeah.
know.
Okay, the main focus of this podcast was about thinking and why we make decisions, and the mind is not designed to change. I give it a 2.
Wow,
I give it a 2. No, this is perfect. He's
no,
done
I
just
give
good.
it less than that. I thought this podcast was fucking.
I thought it was one of the
low
better
note.
Gad Sad podcasts, to be fair.
It's his humility.
I said stop. I said one of the better Gad Sad
Oh,
podcasts.
he tried to take stand up Joe. He goes, I am also here to get my flowers for Bring Back Retarded. And Joe's like, we use retarded, buddy. Slow your fucking roll.
He's so full of himself. It's nuts.
But at the same time, he's the most accomplished person in his family. Oh, I'd love to hear his take because he's a Lebanese Jew on Israel fighting Lebanon.
Yeah, Joe forgot to ask him that.
Well, it's interesting too because he's got a Jordan Peterson problem right now going into immigration, and there's a couple lanes that he's going into that he has no business doing it, but you know that
the hot
happens.
topic lanes.
Did you rate it, Simon?
I give it a
Less than 2.
less than 2. Yeah,
Well, give it a number.
a 1.5.
There we go. All right, gang. That's it. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Jim, what an aggressive prick. Sorry about all the technical issues that we're probably going to encounter in the edit. If you made it this far, thank you so much. It is sweeps month. Maybe you're willing to go a step
Stay
further.
tuned for the post, Joe.
Maybe you're willing.
Toast Joe.
Maybe you're willing to go a step further. If you want to support the show, you can do so for as little as $5 a month. Head over to patreon.com/JREE podcast. For that $5, you get the post show. It's the show after the show where we shoot the shit, talk some non-Joe stuff. You'll also get old episodes of This Won't Age Well, the show where we went back, listen to old episodes of the same shit we do here. Moon debate, we might be trash, all sorts of stuff. Like I said, patreon.com/JREE podcast. It is sweeps month. Go and support the show. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you all have a wonderful weekend. We hope you enjoy your week. And as usual,
Keep your eyes open.